As the leader of the Booner Path, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff Boone and Lucas. We are back. It's Tuesday, June 3rd. Appreciate you all. Coming up day after Frank Ragnow's retirement.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Carrying out with the offseason, per usual. Got a lot to get to today. Obviously, the Frank Ragnow stuff, we have more information regarding it. Ian Rapaport, Jordan McAfee, we'll get to that. Gave some insight to how it kind of all unfolded, whether or not the Lions knew about it. I also am excited today to get into kind of where the Lions' offensive line shapes up in the NFL. I think that's going to be a good combo.
Yeah, I was looking at some old lines. There's some good offensive lines in the NFL currently.
There's some good ones.
There's guys, if can I be honest too, there's guys that signed places I had no clue were signed there. Like once you start looking at the old lines around the league, you're like, wait a second. But pumped up. Hey, shout out Frank again. Back. This is like Frank week. It's like a retirement tour. He doesn't get it during the season. He can have it this week. Shout out Frank, man.
Get some Frank jerseys, man.
We should like first week we should rock, like all of us should rock Frank Ragnow unis, man. You know how like Dan Campbell and Brad and all of them were rocking the Dan Campbell jerseys during the draft. We should do that.
Pay honor to him.
Yeah, we have all Frank Ragnow jerseys pulling up to the show. I don't think honestly. I don't know if I've seen a Frank Ragnow jersey, to be honest with you. I've seen Frank
Ragnow jersey. Hey, come on. Hey, have some respect on that guy's name.
Any love. They don't get any love.
Frank Ragnow does. You saying that is like being like, I don't see any Eagles fans with Jason Kelsey jersees. No, there's a lot of Frank Ragnow unis.
He's a bigger personality. Frank's not as, he's a little more reserved.
It's Frank. Dude.
So you can't sit here and act like you're seeing Frank Ragnow jerseys everywhere.
I've seen Frank Ragnow. If you go to Ford Field,
and I've seen a Corey Schlesinger jersey. So,
I've seen 100 times more Frank Ragnow jerseys.
So I've seen one.
I've seen more Frank Ragnow jerseys than like David Montgomery jerseys. Not more than like Amon-Ra, not more than like Jared Goff or Jameer. I've seen more Frank jerseys.
I've seen a lot of Monty's. It's just personal. I don't know. Maybe it just depends.
Obviously, the big players you see the most of, but like that next level, I think Frank, you see a good amount of them.
Yeah. The whole point of me saying that was not to debate who has sold more jerseys. It was the point of saying that was get Frank Ragnow jerseys. All right, get those jerseys. But hey, speaking of Frank Ragnow, Ian Rapaport joins the McAfee show. He shared with the people some background, some insight to whether or not the Lions knew he was retiring. This is probably one of the biggest questions that I had personally.
Yeah.
Now we have an answer. Let's take a listen to Ian Rapaport. This credit Pat McAfee, ESPN.
Frank Ragnow announced his retirement after 7 seasons from the Detroit Lions. Did you know this was coming? Did the Lions know it was coming? I assume they had an idea. And like, how do you, was it one injury that put him over the top that he was unable to come back for? We listed all the different things this guy has played through.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, well, let me get to your question first. The Lions knew it was coming. He's been absent from OTAs, and I think there was some like, does he want a new contract? Like the Lions knew he was weighing, should he play? My understanding yesterday was he was truly broken up about it. Like this is a warrior. Like I remember 2 years ago, or maybe last year, I think it was 2 years ago, I got word that he had suffered a serious injury. I believe it was a rotator cuff, something that obviously is a guy's out for the season. So, I kind of get ready. I make some calls, and I talk to somebody close to him, and I'm, talking to Lions sources. And they're like, hey, hang on, like, don't report that. I'm like, okay, but, like, obviously, it's serious. And they're like, it's Frank Ragnow. Like, he wants to come back and play. And, like, for any other player, not any other player, but a lot of other players, I'd be like, okay. And, like, he came back and played in 4 weeks. And, I mean, that's what he was like. I mean, this guy was, like, the heartbeat of one of the NFL's best offensive lines. So they knew. I think he knew. He's been through so much. He's played through so much. It seems like his body was just like, it's time. but this was, as people might say, a dog.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats, Frank. Hell of a career. When people think your name, they think of a guy who's tough and played the game right. And you're obviously there for the transition from the old Lions to the brand new Lions. So it just kind of epitomizes everything the city's about, I think, Foxy.
Yeah, 100%. The epitome of a Detroit football player. Tough, gritty, always showed up, played for his teammates. The fans loved him. Everything you wanted in a football player, Frank Ragnow was that. We appreciate him so much. Definitely going to miss him this year. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, and also old Lions would have asked him for $10 million back.
Yes.
True. Brand new Lions say, hey, we'll celebrate you probably. If I had to guess. Sheila Ford Hamp is doing things a little bit
Put
different.
him in the Ring of Honor.
Immediately.
He deserves it.
Yeah, have him, Kid Rock, Eminem.
Yep.
Oh,
Big
Tim
Sean,
Robinson,
Posner. Tim Robinson, Posner. Put him up.
He didn't go through those shitty days to retire unless it was something super serious. So I'm bummed for him, but very happy for his career, and I hope he's doing good in retirement.
I think he's even going to say, like Posner, bury me in Detroit, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, 100%. He'll say that.
He got
exactly.
married there.
And he loves fishing, so he's going to be listening to a lot of do-do-do-do-do-do-do. So, yeah. He'll be just fine.
Great song. Great song. Just an absolute.
That is. It's a great song. Well, the Lions definitely had an indication that it was coming. They definitely had an indication.
Yeah, you heard Rap say that.
Yeah, and that's why, Dan, when he talked about it, like, we've been in communication with those players. I definitely think Dan even had a feeling, like, I'm not going to say it to the media, but they knew that Frank was on the verge of retirement.
Can I be honest? I think they knew earlier than people thought. I think the only reason it was announced June 1 was because that's like there's that deadline, the June 1 deadline that everyone talks about, like post June 1, pre-June June 1. And I know I saw someone, I think it was Mike Payton, put out there today that the Lions actually didn't officially put Frank in there on the retired list. But I still think that it was some type of a post June 1 situation with the money, to where the money kind of, it saves the Detroit Lions money that he waited until after June 1st. Right. So like the money is completely different to where the Lions now have more money next year than they would have if he did it pre-June 1. So I think, and this is just me thinking it, obviously.
Good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think Rap Sheet obviously said that they knew he was going to do this. This wasn't a thing like, hey, this week, why isn't he at OTAs? He retires. I'll put my, my wizard hat on. I think they knew before the draft. Like, I think after the season, Frank said, hey, I got to consider this, guys. Like, this is a real conversation. And knowing what Frank Ragnow is about, what this organization currently right now is all about, I would say I think Frank probably let them know going before the draft, so they knew, like, hey, if they have to make some sort of moves. Because it all makes sense and it all circles back, boys. Do you remember the 3 days of the draft? We were sitting there like, why did they go two interior offensive linemen? Like, that was kind of odd. Like, yeah, the guys were there and they got steals out of both of the guys, but it was a little odd that you see two interior instead of maybe like an interior and a tackle with Taylor next year. And it all makes sense that I'm sure Brad and Dan and all of them knew, like, hey, Frank most likely is not going to be back in the future. And it's not the fact of, hey, we should have drafted the center. They might not have liked the center in this class. It was probably more so like, hey, we know Graham can move to center. Let's give ourselves an option at guard with Miles Frazier and with Tate Ratledge. And that was probably the mindset that they went with it. Like, hey, let's just get the best interior guys we can. If they can play center, that's a bonus. If not, we got Graham and these guys can play guard this year. We can work on that. So with those reports, it makes me feel as if Frank let them know pre-draft and they had some sort of idea that this was kind of coming up this offseason. So that kind of, I respect Frank for doing that if that's the case. That's big. And not that I wouldn't if he didn't, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's definitely a big part of this story.
Yeah, I'd imagine Frank would definitely keep him in touch. And I believe the reports, but at least he did give him a heads up, because with or without a heads up, like, you're still replacing a top 2 center in the NFL, maybe 3. And that's a top 4 or 5 offensive player on your team. So at least they know that they had a plan going for it to replace him, hopefully, and that it's going to be able to succeed, because Frank's just a huge loss in general, with or without him, with or without a notice.
I mean, you have the depth here. on the official depth, and you kind of have what they're working with.
Prediction. Let's just say this is my prediction.
Well, I mean, it's fair.
I'd say it's pretty accurate.
This is
Yeah,
my week
exactly.
1 prediction.
Well, it's fair. I think even if you want to say, oh, we'll start it, whatever. These are the 5 guys that will be in the offensive line. All right,
Yeah.
Taylor, Christian, Graham, Tate, Panay, and then you have off the bench the depth guys that coming off that bench: Miles Frazier, Dan Skipper, Giovanni Manu.
I did throw him in there for you.
And Yodi. Appreciate that, Boone. Well, throw it in there for us now.
For us, yeah. Yep. We're on.
Hey, come on. And then
Bumped up
Yodi.
for that one.
And then Yodi. So this is the official, this is how it looks on paper when you look at it. And I guess the big question would be for an offensive line that over the last handful of years, I would say ever since they got Panay, really, in my opinion, they've gotten to that level of elite offensive line. That's where they've been. They had, even when they had Jonah, like Jonah had his days, but still Jonah was pretty good. And they had Frank, Jonah, Taylor, Panay. And then even last year, they had Kevin Zeitler, who was, he was voted to be in the Pro Bowl. He had at least votes for the Pro Bowl. A really good guard last year. Frank again, Panay, Taylor, and then they had Christian Mahogany in at times. And then they had Graham off the bench. So last year, even one of the best. We were talking about them as a top 3 offensive line with the Eagles. Now you look at this unit. They got younger. They have potential. Like Tate Ratledge, Miles Frazier. I like those players. We don't even know what Manu is.
Cheaper.
So cheaper, yeah. The question would be, where are they now in comparison to where they were? And when you look at some of these other offensive lines in the NFL, if I'm being completely honest with you, this is just where I'm coming from with it. I think they went from a top 2 to 3 offensive line in the league to closer to top 10.
Wow. Okay.
Because I'll tell you, and I'm not saying they're 10. I'm saying they're I'll tell you right now. These are the 5 I would take over the Lions. Okay.
Okay.
I have 5, and then after that, I think you.
I had 4, maybe 5 on my list. The 5th one, I was like in the middle a little bit, and I have another one that I left off that I probably should have way higher than I do.
So I think they're anywhere from 6 to 10. That's where I think they are. And I'll tell you the 5 I have in front of them. Okay, and in my opinion, I want to make sure I clarify this.
Okay,
they have the best player out of all of these offensive lines, but we're not talking about best player. We're talking about unit, the entire unit. I have and these aren't in any order. I'm just naming them. Eagles, right? We would agree with the Eagles.
Yep, they're number 1.
I have the Vikings. I think are better.
I had them number 2 actually.
And I'm not I'm just telling you. You can rank them. But
Yeah.
These are just I'm just naming them. These are coming to my head when I was writing them down. Chargers. I think the Chargers are better.
Okay.
The Broncos, I think are better.
That was the one I forgot about. That they probably should be in that conversation.
And then I have the Bills.
I didn't even have the Bills. I had the Bucks.
And then the Bucks.
Or even the Falcons have a pretty good offensive line.
So I forgot about the Bucks. I'll add the Bucks in there. So they're anywhere from 7 to 10 on paper. They just are.
Yeah.
As a unit.
Yep.
I probably right now, because I left the Broncos off on accident. I completely forgot the O-line they have. So I don't know. I think the Vikings and the Chargers for sure right now on paper as a unit, I would put above the Detroit Lions. The Bucks, I think you can argue like Tristan Wirfs, Panay, Graham Barton. You can argue they're a little younger. I feel like is similar to the Lions, I would say, and same kind of with the maybe the Falcons too, and the Broncos. Yeah, I don't know. I would say 5 to 7. I would throw the Lions. I would put 5, 6, or 7 depending on what you kind of prefer. If there are people out there that still say top 3. I don't see a world. I think there's just some like the Vikings, man. They have Christian Darrisaw, Donovan Jackson, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries. I like Fries. I think it's Freeze, but I like Fries better. Brian O'Neill.
I like Fries too.
The Chargers one, I think, is the sneaky that people don't think about because the Chargers have Rashawn Slater, Zion Johnson, Bradley Bozeman, who came, I believe, from the Ravens. Mekhi Becton, they picked up from the Eagles, and Joe Alt. So they quietly have, to me, a top 3 offensive line currently. The Chargers do.
I agree.
And if the Lions had Frank, I would say give me the Lions, even though they're younger with Christian Mahogany and Tate Ratledge. I still would probably go Lions, but I think just the loss of Frank, and this is where I think Lions fans a little bit, there are the side of Lions are still offensive line's good. And shout out Flannel too, because I was listening to Flannel. I texted you boys about it this morning, today, and he actually had a good point. Like, hey, you can't, like, if you're going to say this offensive line is still top 3, you're kind of discrediting what Frank Ragnow is and how good of a player he actually is. And that was kind of where it hit me a little bit. Like, okay, yeah. Like, I know last night I was like, boys, like this, it's going to be a bigger bump in the road because of this, but I still think they can win a Super Bowl. I still believe in that. But again, your offensive line was the heart of your football team. And now you just went from probably number 2 offensive line at times in weeks, you're the number 1 offensive line, to, depending on the week and depending on how, like, without seeing some of these guys play, you're 5-7. And that was the unit that was your best unit on your team. And so there is a little bit of a step back in regards to that. Now, I think the people that say how bad this offensive line had, or not bad, but step taken back, I think those people forget, like, hey, if Tate Ratledge is as good as people are starting to say he is, okay, like, they're going to be, you could start having that argument. Christian Mahogany, if he's as good as people think he's going to be, you have 2 pretty good guards. And the only question mark at that point comes down to Graham. And now that's me speculating that these guys work out like people think, right? And if that happens, if those 2 guards are there, that Lions offensive line moves up from, Jeff, as you said, 7-6. To me, it moves back into the top 5 lock because of the guys you have in Panay and Taylor, and then Graham with the experience.
Well, this comment, it's not just
I was
Ragnow,
about
it's
to bring
also,
that up.
You lost
I mean,
2 top guys.
When you think about last year, especially last year when all the injuries were happening on the defense side of the ball, when you thought about Frank Ragnow and Kevin Zeitler, that was one of, if not the best center guard duo in the NFL. And when you're losing both of those guys, that was the strength of the team. When you look at Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, yard per carry, yards before touch, like everything compared to the left side of the offensive line, they dominate him. Kevin Zeitler, Frank Ragnow, Panay Sewell. Obviously, you got Panay over there that's helping you. But even Tate Ratledge from Kevin Zeitler, like, that's a drop off. And it's not like this. I agree with you guys. Like, it's not like this offensive line is going to be terrible. It's going to be at the floor, a top 10 offensive line in football. And that's what things going wrong. Naturally, I think just Panay Sewell and Taylor Decker at tackle is up there with tackle duos in the NFL. But I think when we start the season, we're going to be like, oh, yeah, we miss Kevin Zeitler too, because we forget about how good he was for that Lions team last year, because obviously you're playing next to Panay, but you're also playing right next to Frank Ragnow. Kevin Zeitler was already a very good Pro Bowl level type of guard.
Can we say this too? And tell me if I'm wrong. You two can correct, and you might disagree with me. We could say the floor is top 10. Like, no matter what, this is a top 10 offensive line because of the guys you have. Current, like Panay Sewell. Like, you're not going to not have a top 10 offensive line with Panay Sewell, in my opinion. And one thing that puts me there is Hank Fraley at the helm of this whole thing. And I do think, like, if we give head coaches credit for coaching a Super Bowl, you have to give positional coaches when they have continuous turnover and they keep producing guys. And when new guys come in, those guys step up. But to me, all right, floor is top 10, right? You still have to look at it and say, hey, the ceiling of this offensive line, and that's where I think fans that are like, hey, this offensive line is going to be fine. This is where I'll go to your side and I'll give you guys credit a little bit. The ceiling is top 3. It's still, because I know you're losing Frank and you're losing Kevin, but you do have Christian Mahogany, who showed spurts that he can be very, very good for you last year in certain games. And then you have a guy like Tate Ratledge, who they're already repping at center. They already, even before Frank retired, everyone's talking about Tate Ratledge being your starting right guard already. So it's like, hey, these guys have that level of play. You do have to look at both sides. Like, hey, this could be a 10th unit in the NFL. Okay, but if these guys work out with Hank Fraley at the helm, it's going to be a top 3 unit. But it has to work out. And there's always that, like, if it does, right? There's that if. But you still have to look at it both ways, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they can. The ceiling thing's tricky. The only thing I don't know, because I think the biggest thing that they have going against them is, and the thing that was helping me at night, is I knew Frank would be there. So if you remember we used to make the argument, well, Tate's going to be in between Frank and Panay. Now Tate's going to be in between Graham and Panay, which, like, Panay helps him. But it's like, we can't sit here and act like Graham has this another ceiling. You know what I mean?
But
like,
when we say ceiling, though, Jeff, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm just saying, like, Taylor Decker at his best and Graham at his best, Panay at his best. We know if those guys are at their best. Like, Graham was bad last year. When he's good, though, 2 years ago, you're like, okay, he can hoop. I almost said hoop. Like
he can hoop. He can hoop.
He can play,
I think
man.
Graham at his best he's fine. You know, I wouldn't say that Graham.
I would say he's good. I would say good.
I don't know if I would say that about Graham.
You can't let just last year.
Because I think when we last saw Graham, we have to remember he was between Frank and Panay. You know what I mean? Like we're taking that. We have to take that into consideration too.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
Graham, he had a bad year, but the year before when he's
not going to have.
I get that, but he's still a vet in this league that you have to give some credit to where when he's played well, he's a good guard / center. Like he is at the end of the day. You do have to give a little credit. And the same with Taylor. Like as much as Klotz hates Taylor, or not hates him, but
I don't hate him.
You know what I'm saying? As much as you go at him, if he's playing at a high level, he's a top 10 tackle in the NFL. And
Taylor, I'll give you because I've seen Taylor.
That's where you sit there and go, okay, the ceiling can be there, but it's like, can they maximize that and get to that ceiling? That no one knows. You don't know, and have no clue.
Tate and Christian are the ones I don't know. I think I kind of know with Graham. I think I know what I'm getting. I think he'll be solid. I don't know if there's another level for Graham. You know what I mean? I don't think it. Like, how old is Graham? Like 30,
I believe 33, 34.
What is he? 33, 32, whatever he is. I think, I don't know if there's there's another level of Graham that we haven't seen. Like, I'm not going to go that far and sell Graham. Like,
but you're saying he's not good. No, he's good at his best. Like,
his best was between Frank and Panay.
Agreed. Again, agreed.
Now between Tate, who I think could be pretty good, and Christian.
The case is still out there. It's like, hey, you're going into camp. You need Graham to perform now. This is no longer like if Graham does what he did last year, he's out of a job. Tate's stepping in, and you're probably going to have to find it. And it's just my opinion. So it's like, hey, he needs to step up, and you have to hope that he hits that.
Yeah, it's tricky. I know people. I saw John in the comment was in the comments. Shout out John. I find the comment. The guy who said, "If you hate Decker, you don't know ball." But John had a comment earlier. It was like, here we go with the the over exaggeration or something like that about the O-line. Like, I would love for people in flannel. It's a great point. Like, if you don't think there will be a drop off, then you're disrespecting Frank. Like, stop disrespecting Frank Ragnow, man. Like, you know what I mean? Stop. Like, he's a great player. Like, we can't sit here and just be like, oh, they go from top 2 to top 4. Like, that's disrespectful.
No, there's definitely there's a drop off.
Like, they'll go, I think they're anywhere between 6 and 10. And I didn't even mention the Ravens. I think the Ravens always have a pretty good O-line. So they're in that 6 to 10 range. Anywhere you want to put them, fine. Who cares? You can argue that. But
Jeff, I'm going to pull you real quick. Until I see it. This is why you can't overuse that saying, because you come to a situation.
I don't overuse that.
No, I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying in general, you can't always say the same thing, because when a moment like this comes where you have a rookie guard, you have essentially, I would say Christian Mahogany. I know he's played a year, but as a starter, first year starting, and Graham Glasgow, who had one of his worst career years. You can't put them in the top 5, 4 or 5, or even top 3, or even close to it until you see it. Like, it's literally one of those situations. Like, you have to see this on the field. You have no clue.
Yeah, Tate and Mahogany, you could probably say that, because I don't know. I said I think Mahogany shows out this year, but again, that was before. I mean, now he's next to Graham, so now no disrespect to him, but it's not
perspective changes.
Yeah.
Do you think Miles Frazier gets any love in all of this? Like, does he end up starting at a guard spot somehow? Like, think about this. Imagine if by the end of the season we're in the playoffs and it's center Tate Ratledge, left guard Christian Mahogany, right guard Miles Frazier.
That would mean
vice versa.
I think that'd be an injury.
That would mean Brad found 2 offensive line starters in the 6th round. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty impressive. But again,
they both were supposed to go way earlier than 6th round too.
That could happen. And even Ryan says it's Mahogany, Ratledge, Frazier, and then Graham as a backup.
Yeah, Imagine that, dude.
Tony, he says, "Don't we have the best O-line coach?" I don't think they have the best, but they have a top O-line coach. They
second
do.
best.
But still, I mean, that's still valuable. I get that. It is. But again, I mean, Hank last year, like Graham was bad. It's not like it was Hank's fault. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like Hank can only do so much to like, you know, he can help get these guys as ready as he can, but they got to go out and perform anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's just the reality, man. I think the Lions, you know, and I think the scary part of this whole thing, man, and the thing that I'm worried about, and we don't have enough information because Tate's a rookie and Christian Mahogany, we have a small sample size. It's more just me, like with hope, and everyone believes he'll be a good player. I just want to see the interior offensive line and how that kind of goes through the season with a very tough schedule because of Jared. I want to, like, that's got to be the biggest thing is if Jared's protected, we know how good he can be.
Yep.
But you got to protect him, you know, especially in the interior. I don't worry about the tackles really. Like, I think Decker's going to be healthy. I'm not too worried about him. But if you have question marks up front, like look what CJ Stroud went through.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you know what I mean? Like CJ Stroud, like dude was that
Joe Burrow
was so bad. It was so bad, and he suffered. I mean, he suffered. It's Joe Burrow, another one. It's like you can only do so much at some point. And those were two guys that aren't mobile, so you know they got to be protected. And you saw how badly the Texans, they were like, dude, we got to fix this interior. It's so bad. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they're a bad O-line. I just don't think they're great. And I don't think they're great until we see Tate, unless maybe Tate comes out and he's this elite rookie. But until then, I mean, on paper, you can't look at this O-line on paper post Frank and be like, they're still great. They're still elite. You know what I mean? Oh, Boone, your mic's muted.
Mobby, can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good.
That's why I was just saying, I think there's just a big question mark on it. You can sit here and say like top 10 no matter what. Yeah, you know, I'll deal with that. If you're going to say top 4, top 5, you can't solidify and say that until we get to see these guys on the field come week 1 and see what the lineup looks like. And if someone tries to tell you it's different, they're lying, because those are the same people who last year were like, hey, Graham's going to be fighting for a spot with Tate Ratledge because he was so bad last year. Now people are relying on him to be your center, your starting center, or right guard or left guard. So it's just, I think this is one of those things where it's a massive question mark. And the one thing that turns me off a little bit about the whole situation is this Lions team, the heart of this team has always been the offensive line. It started with Frank and Panay, like those two guys. Yeah. And that is, Jeff, that's why I love the point you bring up about Jared Goff. You guys know this too. I'm one of the biggest Jared Goff, stans. I stick up for Jared. I said last year he's going to be MVP. Jason Kambinda comes on our show, says he should be in the conversation this year. I totally agree with him. But if that offensive line isn't to that level, we have seen Jared in most situations like that when the offensive line struggles, even if they're fully healthy, but they're struggling. Taylor's struggling. Graham's struggling. You see Jared has those games like the Texans for a little bit, when the offensive line isn't playing its best, has those turnovers. Chicago a couple years ago, like there have been games, the Ravens, there's been games where things like that have happened and you're like, offensive line slipped up a little bit. Jared has a bad game. But to me, I know that's a big question mark. I'm confident Hank Fraley is going to have these guys ready. I'm confident Graham's going to have a bounce back season. I'm confident Tate Ratledge is going to end up coming in and playing right away and being good for you. And I'm confident in Christian Mahogany. So I don't have as much of a worry as maybe some of you guys do, but I still think there has to be that question mark and there has to be a worry. If you're saying there's not a worry, again, you're downplaying what Frank Ragnow is or was to this team. But you can still be worried and still be confident that this team and this offense is going to keep this thing rolling. Because I still believe that.
Well,
yeah,
go on.
I would say I think during the regular season, like they're gonna be able to patch it up. Where my concern does come in the playoffs, like especially with the rookie offensive lineman and Tate Ratledge, and if Miles Frazier's there, not knowing if he is. I'm just saying hypothetically in that situation, if he was out there, I would expect Graham and Christian Mahogany to be out there. But that's where I think it does. Like it's one of those concerns that's where I really do get concerned, because if you do make that switch at center later in the season with Tate and Graham. Okay, now you got to learn later on in the season the playoffs are coming. So there's just a lot of pressure with this offensive line, and there's a lot of pressure with Jared Goff too. So that's the biggest concern, I think, heading into the season right now.
Ryan says, think we sign Willie Hernandez or Brandon Sheriff? I don't think they'll add a guard. I don't think so because I think they're confident in Mahogany and Tate. I like both those options. But no, I don't think they sign any of those guys. I mean, maybe they bring one of them in for like competition, but I think the Lions are going to roll into the season with who they have. Honestly, they might sign
hate
another.
the competition, to be honest, just to get these young guys to a different level.
I like Brandon Sheriff like a vet. That
Yeah,
wouldn't be a bad.
and if he ends up playing, he plays. That means he won the position, and you can't even be mad on it. But
JT Olson says the biggest issue is the Lions lost their identity. They had an elite strength in their O-line and made them an elite team. That's gone now.
See, that's where I agree with the part. Like, that's the biggest issue that I just don't think they lost their identity. Like, when you still have Hank Fraley leading that charge and you have Panay and Taylor still there, I still think like if they had a whole new 5 offensive linemen, I'd be like, okay, or they lost Panay Sewell. Okay. You have your leader in there, right? Like you have Panay Sewell still. That identity is getting built. Christian Mahogany just spent the whole season with Frank Ragnow and Kevin Zeitler. So I don't think completely. You guys can disagree. I still think that it's one of those things where it's like, hey, that identity still doesn't leave. It's like in Kansas City. They have the identity of winning championships. They have guys leave all the time, big-time players. They kind of rotate new rookies in, and they find new guys. You see it on their defense all the time. I think it's one of those situations to where they have built kind of that culture, especially in that O-line room, that culture and that identity. And I think that is worth more than anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the offensive line's still like good. I don't think they've lost their identity. I don't think it's going to be. I think you brought this up, Klotz, too, and this is what I do agree with. I don't think they'll be as dominant. Like that offensive line has been dominant with like Frank, Zeitler. Like they had basically Pro Bowl level players everywhere. Like you still got to wait and you got to see what they got. You don't. I like Tate. It's a big question mark. So I don't know if I'm not going to say they lost their identity, but it definitely their offensive line got worse. I mean, it's not.
It took a step back offensively.
Nick Peace's hot take: Goff throws 18 to 22 interceptions this year. Okay, that's just.
Come on, Nick.
That's okay. That's
the Goff slander is going to be wide open now, though. The second he has a bad game, I promise you, it's going to be. The fact that he had the lead offensive line, like everything will come out with Jared Goff this year.
All right. So if he has an MVP season, then you see what I'm saying here?
You still hang on to that, Boone.
But no, I'm saying if he does,
I think
without Frank,
it would be hard to ever.
You can't. No one can say anything because everyone's like, oh, it's just the offensive line. If he goes out there and puts numbers up this year with no Frank and Kevin Zeitler gone. Someone try to tell me it's only the offensive line.
JT says the dominant O-line was the identity, though. That's my whole point. I mean, yeah, they're not going to. I mean, I get that.
Think about it, Jeff.
I understand that. That part I do understand. I don't think that's too far off, to be honest with you. Like they were dominating teams every week. I think they'll have probably more games where it's like, oh, well, they're not as dominant, and that's not a hot take. Again, that's not a hot take because Frank is an all-pro player, so it's tricky. I mean, it really is. I don't know how else you can't really defend that. I mean, you lost Frank Ragnow. I don't really know how to no, they'll be dominant.
All-pro player.
No,
that's tricky.
You're taking a step back in that room.
Well, the teams that will be facing in the NFC, especially when they get to the playoffs, PFF ranked rosters, and we get to see what they have the Lions at now with post Frank Ragnow.
PFF fun.
PFF, here they go with their roster ranking. So number 1 in the NFC, according to PFF, Philadelphia Eagles. Anyone disagree with that?
No.
Number 2, they have the Detroit Lions. Look at that. Detroit Lions number 2. Number 3, Los Angeles Rams. Number 4, Minnesota Vikings. That's number 5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 6, Washington Commanders. 7, Green Bay Packers. 8, San Francisco 49ers. 9, Dallas Cowboys. 7 win Dallas Cowboys. And then number 10, the Atlanta Falcons.
Go ahead and keep hanging on your Dallas Cowboys hill, please. Closer to the Giants
What-
and
what
the
do-
Commanders or Eagles.
Can I say this though too, like real quick?
Yeah, I'm
man,
interested
like,
to see what you think on this list.
I
to be
think
honest.
I would take the Falcons out of this list. I'd put the Bears, if I'm being honest. If we're talking roster, like
so you would
really-
have all 4 NFC North teams in the top 10.
yeah,
All 4 of them.
yeah.
I don't.
We're
hate
talking
the
roster.
Bears because that defense
Roster.
they have some
I
dudes.
think the
O-line.
Chargers not being on here, the
No,
Broncos.
NFC.
No, this is NFC.
Oh, okay. Now my brain's settling down now. Okay.
Yeah, NFC. That's what I'm saying. Like Falcons, really? Like, I
Klotz,
like-
I'm a little worried out you didn't the Chiefs or the Ravens.
Well,
or
I
the
was
Bills.
more so looking at the bottom when I saw the Cowboys. I'm like, bro, how are the Cowboys on here? But now that the NFC clears it up for me.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm kind of with you. The Bears, top to bottom, defensively, offensively, they do have a lot of dudes. The Vikings on there, I don't hate. Honestly, I know you gave a kind of a look. I don't hate the Vikings at 4. I think they have a really good roster. I think just the biggest question mark is JJ McCarthy at the end of the day.
yeah,
like,
the
I-
roster is pretty good.
Yeah, and we've had this conversation about off seasons, and we had talked about how the Vikings actually, I think me and you, Jeff, put them 3rd. But it was like we put them 3rd because the Bears had such a good offseason. I felt the Lions took care of what they needed to do. Now Frank, obviously, but I still think the Vikings had a good offseason.
Well, I put them 2nd.
Oh, okay. That's fair. Yeah, I still think they had a good offseason, so I don't hate them at 4. I would have. Actually, I probably might move the Commanders up. I don't know why they're at 6. I like their roster.
Yeah, 6 pretty low, to be honest.
I don't know who I would move down. The Rams, I think the Rams are fine at 3 or 4.
The Rams don't even. not go down
Um,
that road.
49ers.
I would move.
good spot, yeah. No, I think this is a good.
Yeah,
Honestly, the list
top
isn't as
3.
bad as I
The
thought.
top 3 is my exact top 3.
Yeah, I
like
think
in
that's
my
fair.
my way too early power rankings. I think it's Eagles, Lions, Rams, in my opinion. So after that, you get into the debate. Like I like the Bucks over the Vikings as a team. Roster, you can argue whatever roster.
Yeah.
Coaching, yeah.
Yeah, coach, like all that stuff. I get it. And then the Commanders I'd probably have over the Vikings, but I think it's close. Like I think the Commanders should be higher. I don't know why the Cowboys. I get it though. Roster wise, probably got to put them in somewhere in this list. And then I would have the Bears because I think the NFC North is that good. I mean, I just do. I think the NFC North is stacked.
I don't hate that take, to be honest. I wonder if there's any other teams they not thinking of that should be.
I mean, you have teams like no,
I think
maybe
that's
then you're
it.
starting to get into like Seahawks, like Cardinals.
I'd rather have the Seahawks or the Bears over the Cardinals and Seahawks personally. The rosters.
That would really be the only two teams I could think of.
I think the Packers, if I'm being honest, I'm probably moving the Packers. I don't know.
Down or up?
Down.
Yeah, I'm not in love. I know I
At
came into the
7.
offseason saying that I was high on the Packers, but it's just as the offseason goes on, like they're still going to be a good team. I don't think they're going to be under 500 team, but they're just going to have a clear ceiling, I think, going into this year. I don't expect anything out of Jordan Love, and that's what they need.
I think the Packers just are going to strictly win based off coaching. So if this list is based off roster, I would move them down a little. I don't think they did much to this.
Defensively,
Yeah, I just don't think they did much to this team. And Jair Alexander potentially off the squad. Like this team is a little it's basically the same as last year, and they didn't obviously do anything last year. I think it's really just Matt LaFleur and that staff do such a good job keeping them in this thing, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the NFC looking at now you get to see like the actual rosters and how deep the NFC is. Like out of this entire list, I'm only looking at the top 6 as actual threats, in my opinion. Like
Agreed, yeah.
Now I don't know if I'd put the Vikings as like a threat to make the Super Bowl. I'd probably have the 49ers ahead of them, like if we're talking just what they've done. But I get it. Vikings have a stacked roster too. So it shows it's about 6 teams. I think 5-6 teams deep.
Do you know what I would do, Jeff, to that point? I would do Eagles, Lions, Rams, Commanders, Bucks, 49ers, Vikings, Cowboys, Packers, Bears. That would be my top 10.
Packers.
I think that as much as Klotz hates the Cowboys, and really his reasoning
they're
is
just
because
so
of the
average.
coach.
They're
But
so
I just think their roster, they have a good roster. They have a very good roster. They have a good O-line. They added pieces on the D-line. That defense has dudes on it. So I think the argument Klotz has always had is Brian Schottenheimer, or however you pronounce his name. That's been his
injuries, a lot of new pieces on that offensive line.
This is a roster rankings, though, and I think roster-wise, I'll put them up more.
You don't talk about roster. I think the roster is fine. It's okay. Solid. They got bad coaching.
Solid. Yeah. He says they're solid. No, I mean, they're fine. They're a good team. I think they'll be fine. They'll win over 8 games. You know, I mean, I don't know. They could still not make the playoffs. You know, like that's where people don't. You could still go 9-8.
I was told they'd make the playoffs.
Well, our bet's not that.
7.5.
Over 7.5.
I was told by both of you though that they will be in the.
Our bet is 7.5.
More so Booner.
Our bet is 7.5.
The bet's 7.5.
They don't. Yeah, that's
I
how
I was told that they'd be a playoff team as well.
You can't know. The bet is 7.5.
I'm not saying. I'm not. Yeah. Thank you. We've now
There's
said
one
this
argument.
3 times. We've now said this 3
but
times.
You're trying to slip in a back door on here. No back doors. There's one. There's one
I'm
conversation.
saying that I'm so low on the Cowboys, but yet you guys are very high on the Cowboys, saying that they'll make the playoffs, which I think is insane.
We said they'll be fighting for a wild card spot, which is over 7.5 wins. Didn't say they were a lock. We did not say they were a lock. We said they will be fighting for a wild card.
They'll be fighting to be above 500.
So let's just stick to
fighting and clawing to be.
Let's just stick to that.
Yeah, I think, man, when you look at it in perspective, it's like the because Dan brought up the schedule, like, which I think kind of ties into this conversation and how like the schedule can I think the exact quote he used was and I have the quote right here. It's from Nolan Bianchi, and we've heard the quote, but just to show people exactly what he said. Let me see this quote. Okay, so the quote Dan had was, "I love the schedule we have this year because this is the type of schedule that builds you up for the postseason. We're gonna get tested early and often all year long. It's freaking awesome." Like, and this is such a Dan Campbell quote.
Hold on.
It is. It's a Dan Campbell quote. Like of course, Dan's gonna say that. You know, yeah. Like Dan,
I can't hear it. I don't know if it worked.
It did. It did work. Dan's gonna say that, as he should. If you're a leader, you're not gonna. Everyone's looking at you and how you're handling everything. And if he were to go up to that podium and be like, "Hey, boys, this schedule is hard. You know, like it's gonna be tough."
Yeah.
You know, he's not gonna say that. Well, he'll say that, but then he'll be like, "It's good. It'll test us for the postseason." I think it will. He's not wrong about that. It will. But this schedule, it could also be like the downfall too. I mean, it goes both ways. You know what I mean? Like the positive way to look at it, Boone. I'm just saying there's the other side. The positive way is it'll test you, which is true. But the other side is like you can't fucking slip up because like
you can.
Hard
you
games
can. You definitely can slip up. You can afford to slip up. You don't have to go 17-0, so there can be some losses in there.
You know what I mean. I'm not saying you can't lose a game, Boone. You know what I mean.
I know. I see what you're saying. You can't
drop
go
a couple in a row and expect to just, especially with this division. You know what I mean? Especially with this division. So I love what Dan's saying, but this schedule does put some. Makes me worried. It does. It worries me.
One of the best coaches in the NFL at having his team prepare Jeff Iafrate for different scenarios and different moments over the last 3 seasons is Dan effing Campbell. Dan has done such a good job over the last few years, maybe outside of like the Ravens game or games here and there. That right there, what Dan has done, where he goes into the locker room after and boys, 1 week at a time. You can't tell me he hasn't been one of the best coaches in the NFL at preparing his team on a weekly basis instead of looking at, hey, this whole schedule is tough. 1 week at a time, boys. We're 0-0 right now. We're 0-0 going into this week. Next week, we're 0-0 again. Like, that's where I think Dan is, like, if any coach in the NFL was to get this schedule, I would have to say Andy Reid, Sean McVay, No, I'll take that. Sean McVay, John Harbaugh, and Dan Campbell. Those are the coaches that I trust to still go out there and get 12 wins with a schedule like this and to have your team prepared. When he stepped up to the podium last week and looked everyone in the eyes and said, I love this schedule. We are going to be the most calloused team in the entire NFL when it comes to January. The man is not wrong. And it takes a crazy person to look at it that way and be like, we're going to be calloused from this schedule. I haven't heard anyone in sports radio, I haven't heard anyone in the media mention how callous this team will be. I've heard, oh, well, that might help him for the – this guy stepped up and said, we're going to have calluses on our hands and ready for the playoffs. That man is – dude, you can't deny what I'm saying. You cannot deny that this man is one of the best coaches at having his team prepared in situations like this.
No, I mean, I agree with you absolutely. But at the same time, we praise teams that are going to do really good in the season because they have the lack of schedule and a weak schedule. Boone, you're not alone on this, but we talk about like the San Francisco 49ers, and they're a very good team. So we have to apply the same to the opposite when a team has a really tough schedule. And the Lions, they went out and they won 15 games last year, losing these coordinators, we already been down this road. If you want to say 12 wins, that's fine. But I just think it's somewhere like maybe 11. So it's around that same number.
I think that's fair too.
Like, I don't think this Lions team is going to take a shit during the regular season. I think this Lions team maybe will look a little different and not as explosive or dominant going to the offensive line.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I want to ask you a question. This is going to tee you up. I'm going to throw you an oop. LeBron, or do you wait to LeBron? Would you rather have the easiest schedule in the NFL and go 15-2 again going into the playoffs? I'm not saying you win or lose in the playoffs, but 15-2, easiest schedule, or would you rather have one of the tougher schedules, still make the playoffs, even if you have a wild card and you win, let's say 12 games, and you're going into the NFL or the playoffs with some of these tough wins
you want
and battles.
that tough schedule. I think
that's all I'm saying with it.
When
is
Eli
I think there's a
Manning and
positive
the Giants were able to go into the playoffs and make some noises because they were lower seed. They were like 9-7, and they just had to go out and gut out all these games and playing against elite teams they already went up against in the regular season.
That's exactly my point. And listen, that's why if people think, hey, 11 wins, I'm not going to anymore sit here and be like, oh, you hate the Lions. No, that's why I think it's fair. If you have 11, if you have 12, if you have 13, now if you start getting to 9 and 10, we might have to fight.
There's just less room for error. You know what I mean? There's with the tough schedule. Like,
see, that's where I think no matter what, I'm and Klotz, maybe you're with me on this. I think no matter what, this team's going to win 10 games. Like, I think they have the opportunities to go win 10 games, even if they slip up at times. And I think those times they slip up turns into, hey, in the playoffs, we know what we need to. I think it helps them.
But my point though is with, like, if you were to have an easier schedule, you may be able to have some mistakes and you learn from them, but you could still win that game.
Yeah, we had that last year. How did that work out for us in the playoffs? Had no experience.
I don't like the idea of that.
You were not battle tested.
I don't want that one seed again.
You were not battle tested last year, and you know that's true, Jeff. Like you went through games and you beat.
And they also
50 up. I would rather have this to where it's like, yeah, you can't have slip ups, but like this team's going to make the playoffs no matter what. Like they can have slip ups that you're talking about, Jeff, and they're probably going to still win 10 games because they have a top 3 talented team in the NFL. So in that sense, it's like, hey, I like that. To me, I'm with Dan Campbell on this. People might say a Booner or slapping. No, my logic is I want to play the best. I want to go up against the best. It's like in our business. Do you guys want to go up against the best, or do you guys want to just put numbers up against the worst in media? No, we want to be at the best, and we want to go at the best. And whether we win or not, in 5 years, we're going to look back and be like, oh, that helped us out. Now we know what we need to do to get there. I think it's the same thing through this NFL season. They're going to, regardless, they're going to at least be a wild card team. Would you rather have a walk in the park all year, or would you rather have all these calluses and say, we're built for this?
I get that. I agree with you there, Boone.
Yeah, my big thing is as long as you just stay healthy, that's just what they like. Last year, I think it was more so. I don't think it was much the easy schedule as it was. They just didn't have bodies by the time.
Actually, great point.
They just didn't have bodies when it came to that.
It was
game.
A mixture of both, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like, and Jared just throwing all those picks, but that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, but again, things hit the fan. What was your toughest games last year?
The Bills. I'd say Bills and Texans.
That's it. You had no
Even
tough
like
games.
the Niners
Yeah,
where
but
they
they
were
had-
banged
but
up,
they-
the
but they
Rams
also-
maybe week 1.
But you
But-
could argue they battled in the toughest division in football until the last game. They
Yeah,
played
but
a
you went-
playoff game basically against the
real-
Vikings.
I don't know. It's like, how good was your division? They all lost. None of them went. You didn't have.
But I'm saying your regular season, we didn't know what would happen in the postseason.
Yeah, but like
Just saying, regular, they were
those
14-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they were, but they were battling for the one.
I
seed.
still think I think the Vikings were still
They're
fraudulent.
fraudulent. Yeah,
At the end of the day. I think the Packers weren't as good as people thought. I think the Bears obviously weren't with Matt Eberflus. So it's just, I don't think it was as tough as people thought with the wins. But again, we had like one of the easier schedules last year. So did the Vikings and the Bears. Like we all played similar teams.
Let's see. T says, so here's my question. You make the playoffs and you're one and done. Is it Goff or is it Dan Campbell?
I don't think it's one of those things. If you're asking me, I don't think you can look at those two after what they did this season, as long as they don't look as a shell of themselves. If you're asking me, if you make it to the playoffs and get one and done again, it's going to come down to because of the coordinators, in my opinion. I think the again, when you look at this roster, I know Frank Ragnow just left and Kevin Zeitlin. We've talked about the losses they've had. I still don't think the loss of Frank Ragnow equals the loss of Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. I don't even think it's really close, because especially when you get in the playoffs, that's when those things matter. Because Jeff, I think you do a good job of laying it out how coordinators is a chess match. And if you go back and let's just look at, you want to talk about not even one and done with the Super Bowl. These are the defensive minds. Let's stick on the offense. These are the defensive minds that have been on the Super Bowl winning team. So whether it's the coordinator or the head coach, last year, Vic Fangio. The year before that, Spags. The year before that, Spags. The year before that, Raheem Morris with the Rams. Before that, Todd Bowles with the Buccaneers when he was their DC when they had Bruce Arians. The year before that, Bill Belichick with the Patriots. And then the year before that, when the Eagles won it before, Jim Schwartz, who we all know well. And before that, it was pretty much Bill Belichick, Bill Belichick, Bill Belichick. So these elite minds are on the defense side of the ball. And when you put that up against, you're going to be going up against Vic Fangio again. If you get to the Super Bowl, you're going to be going up against those guys. Is John Morton, because those rosters are going to be elite too. Is John Morton enough? Is Kelvin Shepherd enough? Because offensively, it might not be as stacked, but it's going to be Andy Reid. And you look at the offensive players and personnel and coaches in the NFC, it's very good. Sean McVay. Can those coordinators keep up? And I think that's the one thing that slows them down, because on paper, I think they have enough. I do. But it comes down to the coordinators. And I just think that's where they're lacking. And I think when you go past this season, that's when it can catch up a little bit. But no. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, Klotz. You kind of cooked there. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really think about it like that, to be honest with you. You just went. I didn't really name out the DCs that won Super Bowls. That it's kind of a.
It's not on Goff and it's not on Goff and Campbell.
It's a good point. That's actually an excellent point. To be honest with you, kudos to that.
Interesting.
I mean, that's interesting though. What he's saying. I mean,
I don't have anything to say.
That's kind of crazy. I mean,
I will continue to just fall back on the roster. Klotz isn't wrong. He's not wrong. There's no like debunking it because they're facts, right? Like you put it on paper, it's like these are facts. It just, you have to, and I think even Dan knows it, to where since we're Dan, like offensively, Dan's probably gonna be way more involved this year, which I don't hate. Like I would rather Dan this year be more involved with John Morton than he has in years past, just so it's, you know what you're getting and you know that this offense is going to continue. I mean, you've heard defensive players this offseason at OTAs step up, like Jack Campbell's like, the offense literally is one of the best in the league. If they continue, like, we have to figure this out defensively. And I think that starts with Kelvin, your guy, Klotz. Like, he's got to figure it out. And maybe he ends up, I'm not going to say he's better than AG, but like maybe he steps up and you're shocked by what Kelvin, as high as praise as he gets from other coaches and players. Maybe Kelvin ends up being an absolute dog and he's a better DC than AG. What's one thing we said about AG all the time? I'm not saying he's bad DC. I think he's great. But Jeff, what was the one thing you always said about AG? He's going to be a better head coach than a coordinator. And I think if Kelvin, if he steps up and right away, the man had that's what it is, Klotz. Like I agree with you. I see where you're coming from, because like these coordinators, they have the chess pieces.
Yeah.
It's up to them if they're able to find a way to be successful with them. And it's so up in the air right now. It's just like the O-line. There's a big question mark, a big one, because the players are there. The players are.
Yeah, I mean that's and MC3 says Shep has Casey Rogers right there to help him out.
Yeah, like it doesn't mean that
know.
like again the guys that were named off, like you talk about Vic Fangio, Steve Spagnuolo. Like if you could make a Hall of Fame for defensive coordinators, Todd Bowles would be on there. Steve Spagnuolo, all those guys, pretty much. Jim Schwartz would be on there. I think it's really hard to expect any year one defensive coordinator, any year one offensive coordinator to live up to that level because again, if you're Kelvin Shepard, you're going up against the Eagles. That's a chess, and you got even a rookie OC. Like, let's say Kelvin Shepard's a better coordinator. That's still a hell of a team to go up against and game plan for, where they can still exploit you. It's tough for year one.
Hey, I still want to get to the Tigers because the Tigers are, I mean, they're still playing well, and I want to make sure we get to talk about them today with Parker Meadows being back. But before we do that, we still have trivia, by the way, Tuesdays. So we got Crunch Time Trivia
Lock and
Tuesdays.
loaded. We're good for it, fellas.
So we'll get to that as well later. But I do want to ask you, fellas, because when you talk about winning a Super Bowl, what matters is quarterback, who's playing quarterback, how good is that said quarterback. And we talked about the NFC North. I want to rank NFC North quarterbacks. In chat, I'm going to you on this as well. Okay, we're going to rank NFC North quarterbacks. You got Lions, Jared Goff. Vikings, you have J.J. McCarthy now. Packers, Jordan Love. And the Bears, Caleb Williams, of course. So we get to rank these QBs heading into 2025. Is that how we're doing
I have an idea for the chat. We should do 4 as we do ours. We should do 4 chat polls for the chat, and we should do like the first one, who's the number 1 quarterback on the list, and put all 4 quarterbacks, and then
great idea.
After a couple minutes, let the chat vote, and then once we get the number 1 chat one, then we could say who's your number 2, and we have the 3 remaining, and then number 3, the 2 remaining, and we have the 4th as well.
And this is obviously projection, who we think will finish by the end of the season.
No, this is heading into the season. I think my list would be different if it's by the end of the season. I think it's going into 2025.
Okay, so we're going into it. Okay.
Yeah. It's all like currently like heading into the season.
I just think because I think
by the end, because then it makes.
But I changed mine's different. Yeah, I guess.
I feel like we might all have the same exact list, low key. Well, I'm not gonna.
I don't know.
You guys.
I don't know. And then it's like who's going to have the better career or something, or who?
No, not career.
Like the better season, like the better season. Like when we look back, who do you think will have?
I don't know, because when you do rankings in the offseason, it's based off of now. Like we're not doing top.
Yeah, but JJ McCarthy's a rookie. I feel like by default.
Okay, but I'm saying but if we switch it up, any ranking we ever do, it's based off today. Why would we just do one ranking differently?
But yeah,
because then when people clip us, they're like, "Why is this guy here?" And it's out of context.
I just think by then we're ranking 3 then, because no one's putting JJ higher. He hasn't played, so he's 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's the same thing when we rank current NFC North teams. We kind of have an idea. We know where everyone's going to fall. I mean, we could do it your guys' way. I just think that's just like that's not typical how
it makes it more. I know
you're not doing it end of year. I just think that's weird.
But a case to case basis. In this case, it's
all right. You guys go first because I did. I was the only normal one who did it here, so I don't know why we switch things up.
All right, you know what? Let's do it your way.
No. I look like like the bad guy now. Let's do it your guys' way. Yeah, Ryan. See people do it, Booner. All right. You guys go first because I got to remake mine.
Hefe, you want to go or do you want me to go?
Go ahead, Klotz.
All right. Let's start from the bottom. Okay, number 4. Oh, that. Uno, dos, tres. Cuatro. Numero cuatro. Jordan Love. I just spoke about how I was high on the Packers coming in. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be anything that he was ever supposed to live up to be. I think that year where he earned his money, he knew he had to go out there and ball, and he got that contract now. You saw it last season. I know a lot of it was due to injury, but he still just hasn't found chemistry with that wide receiver room. They became very heavy with Josh Jacobs, and still, you just have not seen Jordan Love put it all together. And I know they add Matthew Golden, but I just still I don't see Jordan Love taking a big step. There's nothing that sticks out to me. Nothing coaching wise changed. Like it's pretty much running back, both another potential wide receiver 1. So I think Jordan Love, he's going to stay the same level. Number 3. Caleb Williams, And Jeff, you're going to be mad at this one. But I think this is going to be close. Like 1, 2, and 3, it's going to be close, and you're pulling hairs. But when you're asking me when the season ends up, who's going to be the 2 and 3? I'll put it at 1. 1 is Jared Goff, okay? I'm fighting between J.J. McCarthy and Caleb Williams. But if you're asking me, who can turn water into wine better than anybody in the NFL at the quarterback spot as far as a head coaching standpoint? It's going to be Kevin O'Connell. It's going to be Sean McVay. And it's going to be Kyle Shanahan. And I think J.J. McCarthy, having the best wide receiver in football, having one of the best wide receiver tandems with him and Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. We just talked about the offensive line that they have. And I really like the potential 1-2 punch that they have with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. I think a lot of people are sleeping on what Jordan Mason's going to be for this team, given the fact or Aaron Jones is getting up there with age. And if you remember what Jordan Mason was with the Niners when he was healthy, he was a very good back. But I just think J.J. McCarthy is going to be in such a good situation that he's like that Sam Darnold of this year. Not saying that he's a more skilled football player than Caleb Williams. But when we look back at the end of the season, I think Jared Goff's going to be number 1. J.J. McCarthy is going to be 2. Caleb Williams is going to be 3, and Jordan Love will be 4. So that's how I rank it by the end of the season. Obviously, going in right now, I think you'd have to put McCarthy at 4, and I'd probably go Caleb Williams at 2 and Jordan Love at 3. But Jared Goff, I don't think there's any way you cannot say Jared Goff at 1. I think you'd have to be off your rocker.
J.J. McCarthy at 2.
He's going to ball out this year, man.
Listen, here's the deal. All right. I agree that Jared Goff will still be number 1. I just think, he's the best quarterback. He's consistent. He's put up the numbers. I think he'll still put up pretty good numbers this year. So I'm not, and he has, the weapons and the running back, all that stuff. So Jared's number 1. All right. Number 2. Do I got to say it?
Yeah, we already know. Go ahead.
It's Caleb Williams.
Your choir.
It's Caleb Williams. I mean, we could talk number 1 about the revamped offensive line. We can talk number 2 about the plethora of weapons at his disposal. DJ Reed, Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland, Roma Dunze.
DJ Reed's on the Lions, you dingus, and it's still not Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison.
Luther Burden. I mean, he's going to have so many weapons to throw to. And then now you have Ben Johnson, who is one of the best play callers in the National Football League.
Is he Kevin O'Connell, though?
Just wait. He's up there. He's right there with, trust me, offensive mind. People are stealing plays from him. So, yeah, jot that down in your little notebook.
Never Sean McVay and Kevin O'Connell.
So, I think Caleb Williams this year is probably going to throw, if I had to put a prediction, I think he's going to become the first 4,000-yard passing yards, first 4,000-yard passer for the Bears. And on top of that, he's probably going to have, 27 TDs, 26 TDs, 12 picks, 10 picks, whatever it is. He'll have a really good year. And then third, I have Jordan Love. I think Jordan, last year for me, he had moments where I'm looking at Jordan Love going, is this the guy that, they paid and they believed in? And I thought he was going to be, I thought I was high on him his first year starting. He had a great year, but last year he just kind of regressed. They still don't have a true number 1 dominant receiver. They're kind of changing their offense to more run first. So I'm going to put Jordan Love at 3rd. Still a lot of question marks. And number 4, I have JJ McCarthy. I'm not buying into the JJ McCarthy stock as much as you guys are. I'm not. I think JJ will be a fine quarterback, but I think by the end of this year, he's going to have an okay season that maybe he can build off of. But year 1, I don't think JJ is going to impress a ton of people. So I got Jared, Caleb, Jordan, JJ McCarthy. Those are my top 4. You'll see by the end of the year. Book it. Clip this. Okay, clip it.
Fair enough. I have the same as Klotz, so there's not much. Jared Goff
JJ
1,
2?
JJ 2, Caleb 3, Jordan Love 4.
Jordan Schmove.
See, I don't. You guys are. I mean, you just think that JJ McCarthy's just gonna ball out. I mean,
it's not. It has honestly, Jeff. I'm an Ohio State fan. I could not stand JJ McCarthy.
This is crazy.
But you have to look at what Kevin O'Connell has done with quarterbacks, whether it's been Nick Mullins, whether it's been Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins, like all of these guys are different types of quarterbacks. Even Josh Dobbs went in there and had success and won a game off of the jet 2 weeks prior or a week prior. He came in and won a game. And I see that, and I see JJ McCarthy sitting back, as much as I do not like JJ McCarthy, I can tell that he's a smart football player. He knows how to read the game. And I look at, okay, he's got an arm, maybe not the most accurate, but fucking Justin Jefferson's down there somewhere. I look at that offensive line, and then I remember when we were talking to Josh McCown at the Combine, and you could just see, like, without a doubt on his face, JJ's ready. JJ's ready. And I think Kevin O'Connell, they wouldn't have taken JJ at the point that they did if he didn't think that he was, quote-unquote, their Mahomes. I think when you look at that, and everybody's trying to chase that, the arm talent is definitely there, the mobility is there. He's the best quarterback on paper that they'll have, I think, for the next 5 years. Like, JJ McCarthy will bring the Minnesota Vikings more team success than Kirk Cousins ever did. And it's because he's got the true athleticism, and I think he fits exactly what Kevin O'Connell wants in a quarterback. Kirk Cousins had a great arm, but he was a pylon. JJ McCarthy can move.
The problem is Jordan Love, Jeff, you already know what he is. Like, there's no more like, hey, this is Jordan Love. You know Jordan Love. Like, you know what Jordan Love's about. And he's going to play 8 weeks of good football and 9 weeks of bad football, or vice versa. And Caleb Williams too. Like, let's just talk about him as well. Like, with Caleb, I'm not saying there's already bad issues, but there are, like, it's his first year with Ben Johnson. Like, it's going to take time. And as talented as he is, there's going to be ups and downs of this season for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. As much as you might think there's not, and he's just that good. Like, they're already talking about that he needs to, figure out this whole attitude situation or his mindset or whatever the article was that Doc wrote about it. It's like, hey, they need to figure that out. And I think with JJ, it's like, out of those two guys, Kevin O'Connell's done it with 4 different quarterbacks. Like, he's done it week after week with different quarterbacks, bad quarterbacks, good quarterbacks. JJ's good. Like, he's going to be good. He has all the talent to do it. So it's just, you're plugging and playing with a coach that's already proven he can do it with any quarterback with that current roster. They're probably, in my opinion, like that if JJ just goes out there and is solid, he's going to look better than what Jordan Love's going to look like. He's going to look better than Caleb Williams in year one system of Ben Johnson.
See, that's where I disagree with you guys, because I think both quarterbacks, if you want to go, well, it's Caleb's first year playing in Ben Johnson's system. Although JJ's been learning the system, it is still his first season going out and playing still with that with the system. So he's, and I get it's a quarterback friendly system. I would argue Ben's system's pretty quarterback friendly as well, but it is what it is. At least you've seen it with Kevin. I understand that he's a better head coach
playing in a dome.
So I think some of the things that JJ's going to have, or that Caleb's going to have to go through, I think JJ's going to have to go through similar things. And the thing I would give Caleb is he's had a full season already in the NFL to learn, like timing, prepping every week, like understand. And obviously he didn't have much help last year at the coaching position, but it is. You guys are obviously higher on JJ than I am. I've been pretty consistent about it. I think he's fine. I'm not super high on JJ. I don't think he's going to be this big threat in the NFC for the next decade. To like, watch out for JJ. I'm just not there with him yet, but that's fine. The big thing is, why is Jordan Love fall off a cliff? That's probably the big one.
I don't think he falls off a cliff. I think just the other guys.
He was at four by both of you.
Yeah, I don't think it's that he falls off a cliff. I think it's just these other guys are like, there's just better guys. I think Jordan Love's gonna be Jordan Love, and we know what he is. I just think Caleb Williams is gonna end up being better than Jordan Love, and I think this year you're gonna see it more. And I think JJ in the system he's in is gonna be better than Jordan Love in his system. So it's nothing that Jordan Love's like gonna fall off. I think Jordan Love might have a similar year than he's had the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. It's just, to me, there's going to be better quarterbacks in this conference or this division than him at this point.
Yeah. To me, quarterback play, obviously talent is there, but it's all about consistency. Like, how consistent can you be? And I think what makes Jared Goff so elite is that he is so consistent and so efficient. I look at JJ McCarthy. I think that the system he's going to be in, the weapons around him, he's going to be extremely consistent. When I look at Caleb Williams, I see somebody that has immense talent, without a doubt the most talented quarterback in this division, but I think he still needs to settle down, find himself. I think with Ben Johnson, he's got aggressive play calling offense. I can think that there's going to be some learning there just on the field within itself. Not saying that there won't be with JJ, but I think JJ's in a spot where he's going to be able to be more consistent. Then I look at Jordan Love. He's not as talented as Caleb Williams. He's been in the NFL for 2 or 3 years, actually starting now, and he's shown no signs of consistency. And I understand, like I said, you added Matthew Golden. I get that. I think Matthew Golden was the best wide receiver prospect coming out of this draft. When you look at Matthew Golden, again, that's not something that I'm going to point to and be like, you know what? I think this is why Jordan Love is going to flip that switch and be more consistent. Because going into last year, like, there's no like, oh, Jordan Love needs to accomplish this. You've seen the arm talent, you've seen the mobility, you've seen the crazy throws, but you haven't seen it all level off. And I don't think Matt LaFleur is going to be able to take that to another level that has not already been there. He was the 31st pick in the NFL draft for a reason. Maybe been a little higher. Maybe I'm missing the draft selection. But he was coming out of Utah State, and there's a lot of concerns about him. Like, the talent was there. The issue was consistency. And now that we're seeing him actually play NFL snaps, you see the issue with Jordan Love is consistency. And I don't think that's something that's going to be able to overcome the level that Caleb Williams is going to be playing at with his talent. And I think Ben Johnson's a better play caller, to your credit, Hefe, than Matt LaFleur / will be. And I don't think that's enough to overcome J.J. McCarthy or Jared Goff's consistency. So I think he's probably more talented than Jared Goff and probably more talented than J.J. McCarthy. But when it comes down to being a quarterback, you have to be consistent.
That's fair. That is fair. I missed this. Caleb Daniels, appreciate the $5. He says, who's a Braylon Edwards comp today?
Braylon would have been so much better in the NFL today, too.
Yeah, he definitely would have.
Who would be a good one? I want to say Nico, but I feel like that's literally like Michigan, top 5 wide receiver. Like, it's just like, I think Nico, though, if you're talking about frame, maybe Drake London. Because Braylon played in such bad, like, for wide receiver, like played in Cleveland and in New York.
Yeah, it was a different league, and yeah, he really didn't have any quarterbacks. I think the Nico one's good, just in terms of body type and the Michigan connection there. You know, I like that connection. One. Yeah, I forget that Nico Collins went to Michigan sometimes. Caleb Daniels, appreciate the $5 though, my man. We appreciate it.
I'm trying to think of other Michael Pittman. You guys call that disrespectful, but Michael Pittman.
No, Michael Pittman's a good. That's a good one, build wise. Yeah, that's fair. All right, before we get to trivia, I would like to talk
Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors,
maybe.
Justin Jefferson.
Braylon was a fucking athlete.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he ran like a
4.4.
I think he ran like a 4.4 at 6'3".
Give me a Malik Neighbors and Braylon Edwards.
Dude, it's crazy. He put up like
all pro
yards and damn near 20 touchdowns with Brady Quinn, I believe it was.
All pro.
Whoever that quarterback was. Yeah, it's nuts.
Hey, give him a better comp. Give him an all pro wide receiver as a comp.
Fair.
All right, let's get to some Tigers talk, man, because the Tigers are winning. They have the record 40-21 looks fucking beautiful on paper. But the big thing is with the Tigers, is they have Parker Meadows back.
Yes,
and he's added some juice into the lineup. And now they're third best odds to win the World Series as we speak. And Jeff Passan wrote an article about what it's like early trade deadline rumors and news, and he's got the Tigers as buyers. Which I think that's exactly where they should be. They should be trying to add talent because I think it's kind of the similar thing to what Klotz said yesterday. I think there's not as egregious as he was on the Lions. I'm not going that far. I'm not going to say there's not a 0% chance, but you get what I'm saying, Klotz. I think where I'm at is a similar statement. Are the Tigers World Series contenders? Yes. Do I think they can win the World Series? No.
Wow.
Yeah, I just don't. It's just
that feels like a cop
because
out.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you say that first, then people will say you're not looking at this team like a contender. No, I think you can be a contender, and then I share my opinion on whether I think you'll win or not. I still think when you look at big picture, they have to be buyers. They need more talent. They do need more talent on paper. I'm talking at the deadline. You got to be buyers here. Because although the Tigers are really good, if you're willing to say that they're better than the Dodgers,
right now they
Parker
are.
went on the heavies today, and
now they are.
I get that. But Rob Parker went on the heavies today, and he said he'll take the Yankees, which I get is like, that's a whole other thing. But please, tell me why you disagree with that. Tell me why you disagree. Tell me why.
I don't. I'll just get out of the way. I agree with Hefe here.
Listen, this team can beat anyone in baseball, and they're only going to get better. Parker Meadows has been back 2 days, and yesterday, I know it's the White Sox, but you saw what he can bring. He's one of the best outfielders in the game. Mm-hmm. And now you add another bat to that lineup. Obviously, he's not going to go out and get you 1 million home runs, but he's going to get the ball in play, and he's going to get hits, and he's going to bring score. He's going to bring runners in, and he's going to make plays for you. You have Riley Green and him out in the outfield. You have one of the best pitchers in baseball. Dylan Dingler has stepped up is a very, very good catcher. The question, obviously, I think the bullpen is fine, and I think obviously you can add maybe 1 or 2 pieces to it. Yeah, you would love to go out there. I saw the article today of Bo Bichette potentially, in the trade market, and that was kind of the projection for the Detroit Tigers to get. Okay, like that helps out as well. You throw him at third or second, and obviously, like Javi and some guys had to be consistent, but this team has all of the talent in the world to go win the World Series. If you're right now, like if you're have the third best odds to win the World Series, and Reese Olson gets healthy, and all your whole starting lineup when it comes to pitching is healthy, who's going to beat you in a series? Who? Dodgers. If you're playing like you are Dodgers, if you're playing like you are today and you have your healthy pitching core, you have a chance to beat the Dodgers. You do. You
have a chance.
And like that's what I'm saying. Like, would I count them out? No, I would not. I would sit up there every day and be like, they're winning today. They're going to win today. And if I believe that, then yes, I believe they can win the World Series. I think it's the Yankees. I think it's the Dodgers. You can throw the Cubs in there. And I think that I think those are the teams right now that you're looking at. Obviously, there's a couple other teams, but I would put the Tigers right now currently in that conversation with the Yankees and Dodgers confidently. I think with Parker back, and you're even talking about Matt Vierling back yet. He just went back, and he's on the 10-day IL. Like, there are guys that are still – if they're healthy and this pitching staff gets healthy, I mean, they're going to have a chance to beat those two teams in the series. They will.
I just look, and I think there's the Yankees and Tigers. I think the Tigers right now are above them, but I think those two are a very similar level. I don't think there's a team in baseball that can compete with the Dodgers in a true series right now, because it's not like they've just loaded up for this season will be. They've loaded up for a long time to be probably the next 2 or 3 seasons the most dominant team in baseball. And if they're not in the World Series and a team is able to beat them and somehow overcome them, that momentum, and I don't see a way that a team walking out of the NL does not win the World Series again this year. Doesn't mean that the Tigers aren't good, but I think there's a difference where you can address, like, I look at the Yankees as a contender, but I do not think the Yankees will win the World Series. Like, if you're asking me, could they? Absolutely. Could they win it? Absolutely. Will they? I think those are two different questions, and I think that's where with the Lions and the Tigers, it's not like the Lions can make the Super Bowl. Absolutely. Do I think they'd actually win it? No. Would they technically have a chance of winning the Super Bowl? Sure, but I'm not looking at it like that. I'm looking at it Lions, Tigers. We're talking Tigers right now. If they were to get to the World Series, which I honestly think they can make it out of the AL, how do they hold up coming against the Dodgers?
I don't think there's a world, though, you're saying they can't beat them in the series. Like, the Dodgers have lost.
I'm not saying that they can't. I don't think they will. I'm not saying there's a zero. I'm saying if you had to ask me, will they win or lose? I'm going to go, you know what? I think they're going to lose.
Yeah, there's two things: can and will. I think it's just my opinion. I think I like the Dodgers were a team. I know they've had injuries, but before the season, I mean, they're talking about breaking the most wins in a season. You know,
I mean, I don't really even look at it.
And they swept the Tigers when they played them early in the year. So, and that was early. So I'm not trying to.
That was the first week. The Dodgers have lost series to the Mets.
I know, but we're going to go. We're not talking power rankings. If you want to put the Tigers one as a power ranking, then that's fine.
Yeah, but we're
talking both teams. If they're in the World Series, Booner, you're taking the Tigers.
We're having this conversation, though, in the sense of, and to Klotz's points that he's making, that the Dodgers are untouchable and you can't beat them. And that's,
I think in the light that they are.
And to me, they're not untouchable. They've lost series they've lost series. You've seen it. They are not untouchable. I think this Tigers team, I think if you say, hey, Dodgers are untouchable, the Tigers can't do it.
No,
that's wrong. This team from top to bottom, and especially with the healthy pitching staff, will do it. They could do it.
I think the Tigers, they have a lot of depth, which helps. They have to get healthy. And I mentioned the Dodgers have been they suffered injuries. So I understand, but I'm talking big picture. They're third to win the World Series. Like, my whole point of this, the reason why, we were arguing about this, but the reason why I'm bringing it up is the Tigers have to be buyers. They got to be buyers. They have to add, and I know Jeff Passan, you already kind of talked about it, but who they add is a whole nother thing we could talk about another day. But they need to be buyers. I think they're a
I
team
think anyone that's a World Series contender needs to be buyers.
Yeah, you better spend that fucking money
at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I think it's more. The Tigers. You're talking about the bullpen, which is the big thing. Who's the closer that's been playing really well? Nick Vest. Who is it? Will Vest. Will Vest. That's who it is. Okay, so that's we'll see. Who's the other two in front of them? Dodgers and who else to win the World Series?
The Yankees. It's just the
Yankees,
Dodgers,
probably.
Yankees, Tigers.
Yeah, I would take the Tigers over the Yankees, but I get that.
I like the Tigers over the Yankees in a series. At least how they're playing right now.
U of M dad, middle reliever needed.
I think the problem too, we can have this conversation all we want. At the end of the day, you're only 50 or 60 games in. You still have 100 plus games to play. And the biggest conversation like today needs to be like, listen, if Parker Meadow comes back and Parker stays healthy and this pitching staff gets healthy, this team's scary, man. The fact that they're literally the #1 overall ranked team right now in the power rankings, and they just got Parker Meadows back, and Matt Vierling still isn't back, and Reese Olson's not playing. And Jackson Job's not playing, and you're still the #1 power ranked team like that. To me, that's incredible. That shows that and you know who gets a lot of that credit needs to be AJ Hinch. Like that man can manage a team, and at the end of the day, he takes whatever he has and he will find a way to. He will get find a way to win. He will give you a chance to win every single night. So if you get to the World Series versus the Dodgers, if you get fully healthy, that man's going to give you a chance to win the games every night. And I think like you have 100 games left. These guys stay healthy. This Tigers team is going to be a problem. Like they currently are first team to 40 wins, but the fact that Parker just came back yesterday and you already were the #1 team in baseball and you had the best record in baseball before Parker Meadows got here, that's insane. It is insane. He's one of the best outfielders in the whole in all of baseball, and you're sitting there throw him in there. That's scary.
Rashad Walker says the Tigers would need Torque, Carp, Meadows, Dingler to play well in the postseason and win it all. By the way, shout out Dingler. Yeah, there's no way that Jake Rogers. We talked about him a couple weeks ago, but Dingler's playing. Let him cook a little bit here. But they do need Torque, Carp, Meadows, Dingler all to play well. Yeah, to win the postseason. That is true. Before we do get to trivia, Lions 57, do you see that the Knicks fired their coach?
Yeah,
that's
Tibbs.
Insane.
Tibbs got fired.
I don't know how. It's just the NBA, dude. It's
Bring in Mike Malone. It's the only thing that can save you. Trying to think who else could they bring in.
I don't know. I thought Tibbs was the best option for them,
especially for like their identity of like the Knicks, like their physical like you think of Patrick Ewing and the Knicks, you think of physical ass basketball.
I'm not a big Tibbs fan, if I'm being honest.
I think he's a good coach, dude.
I think he's good. I don't think he's good enough. I think there's things. I think Tibbs is a little more old school. I don't think he fits like the modern NBA.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? I think he got them to where they got to, the conference finals, which is great. But I think that's just kind of been the thing with Tibbs is like he's like look who's. Rick Carlisle's older. But he's like a player coach. Like he's like the dude. He's an offensive guy, but he's a.
I don't know, dude. Can you name me?
Yeah, go on.
I'm just saying. Can you name me a coach over the last couple of years? And maybe I listen. This is me actually genuinely asking. Where they fired their guy that people were like, "That's their dude." They brought in a random dude and they won a championship.
Maybe Boston.
Boston, I wouldn't count though, because Missoula is an old school guy. Missoula is not a play. He is he's a hard head. He's like.
I was
Coach
just thinking
Tibbs.
more of like shocking, like wow. He actually
players love, but
yes, but players love Coach Tibbs too. The players loved him. They're all tweeting out today, like, what are we? They're all shocked.
Yeah, but Missoula,
I think that's literally
I think
Missoula's
Missoula
just like
as the tactician. Is like way better.
I don't know. Tibbs is an all-time man. I see. That's one
He's
that I
great-
wouldn't.
I'm
I
not
wouldn't
trying to
use
disrespect him
Missoula.
as a coach. I just think he's not. I don't think he fits.
I don't know.
Be like Rex Ryan.
There's a reason why the guy keeps switching teams. I mean, don't take it from me. Like,
I hate that because he shouldn't have been fired. I knew that people were going to say that today when I saw that. And that was the one thing I did not want to hear with Coach Tibbs was there's a reason he keeps getting fired. No, that man did not deserve to get fired. He just took that team to the Eastern Conference Finals and beat the Celtics.
I mean,
you cannot disregard what he just did in New York, Jeff. That to me, those comments, and I knew those comments would come. Those are the most disrespectful comments because
it's the truth.
No,
it's just the truth.
I hate those.
You
comments,
obviously are high on Tibbs. I'm not. I've been consistent. I'm not as high on Tibbs.
I'll agree with like JMO Lion King in the chat. He is a stubborn coach, but though that team loved him, a lot of the people in the front office loved him. I think this was an owner decision from what I heard. A lot of people in the front office liked him, and he just took them to their first conference finals in 20-something years, 30 years. Yeah. And he did it through the Celtics, who were the best team in basketball outside of the Thunder.
Yeah, but the Celtics, they lost like Tatum mid-series. I mean,
either way, man, they were winning that series no matter what.
You know,
I knew those comments would come, and this isn't. I wasn't trying to get triggered at you. When I saw that tweet today, he got fired. First thing popped in my head is people are going to go at Tom Thibodeau about that, and that's the last thing anyone should be saying about him. It's not even Mike. I don't even care for the guy that much. I respect the game of basketball. I respect the game, and I understand like that guy should not have been fired. The organization is insane for letting him walk after going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, and they haven't in 30 years. Like that,
and it's like they were. I mean, if they win Game 1 and they don't blow that lead, that whole series looks completely different. And it's a completely different narrative. I'm with you because even when he was in Minnesota, now I understand they weren't going to conference finals like they are right now with Ant, but he was doing fine in Minnesota too. Like I don't recall Tom Thibodeau ever being in a situation just being a bad coach.
He's always put teams together and won, like Chicago, Minnesota, Knicks. And yes, he didn't get over that hump, but this was a situation to where you gave him, yes, he's had a couple years. He just got to the first Eastern Conference. The Knicks were actually building something with this team. Think about this Knicks team. They were building something last year, and then what do? They get rid of Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle. They're like, oh, let's try again. So this year's the first year they finally get this new team. They get to the Eastern Conference Finals. First year with Cat and all these guys on this new team, Mikal Bridges. What do? Losing in the conference finals, they panic. That owner just pressed the panic button and fired the head coach, being like, oh my God. I don't know if there's been a coach that's taken over in 1 year and won a championship with a team like that. I don't think that's happened. That I can think of. If you guys can think of that, please tell me. I don't know. Maybe the Pistons in 2004. When did Larry Brown get the job? What year?
Well, I think I want to say this with Tibbs real quick. I think I don't want to disrespect him as a coach. I think he's a good coach. I just think Tibbs is kind of like you mentioned, stubborn. He's kind of always been what he's been, which is someone that's he's gonna play his stars. And I think in the modern NBA, I think you need to win with depth. I think you got to have depth to win. Like the Pacers have a lot of depth and they utilize their depth. And I think there's just little habits. Maybe they look at him as a little more old school. We're going to see. It depends on who they hire because that always matters too. Like if they hire some like random assistant, then it's like, I don't know. He might be a little skeptical.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right to fire your coach after going to a conference finals. Like I get it. Like if it was the Pistons, we'd probably be over here a little frustrated too. But
I just don't think you could blame Tibbs. Like I don't think you could be like, look what he's done at every stop of his career. He always gets fired. Like I think that's unfair because I don't think he should have been fired in this situation.
Look how many teams he's just been passed around to. He can't figure it out anywhere. Yeah, I agree with you.
All right,
I just think this situation is different. Can I go get my paper?
LeBron his biggest trouble when he was in
Cleveland.
Go
get your paper. You can get your paper.
I'm touching on the chat off. Klotz or Jeff, don't look at those questions underneath. If you look,
I'm not. I'm trying to get the music ready.
I don't even think you can read them. I think they're too small.
I can't read them. But Lukas Klotz.
We're back with another Crunch Time Trivia. Last week we did a Who Would You Rather, and Booner said it was a this or that. But this week, NBA Finals, we're talking some NBA ball. NBA Finals are on this week. I believe this week, right, Hefe? There's no extended break.
I think. Hold on. I don't think it's on this week.
I would. I'm probably on the weekend.
Oh, June 5th. Yeah, you're right. I'm an idiot. Sorry.
It's all right. 2 days. Kicks off. We're going to go through the past. Little NBA Finals trivia. Now, Hefe and Booner both consider themselves basketball savants. Obviously, Jeff, big LeBron goon. Okay, he loves LeBron. I'm a big Jordan guy, but what are they known for? Make it to the finals, putting up good finals performances. Boone's a Kobe guy. Kobe makes a lot of finals. So I'm going to test the boys' NBA Finals trivia. Boone, as normal, has ran off. He's getting his paper, but he'll be back here soon. I think he just joined now as well, but we're going to get it started with question 1 here soon. But fellas, today, NBA Finals trivia. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready to roll.
I don't think any of these are too difficult either. And for some of them, because I know like back in the day, it was like 1950 when the Plumbers were playing. Like it was like, oh, Celtics, Lakers are dominating. You could have like 5 NBA players off that roster that kind of kill the statistics. So we kind of took that out of the equation for some of these. But question number 1, fellas, you ready?
Let's go.
All right, question 1.
Let's go.
Who has the most points in NBA Finals history? Nice, easy, simple question. You may or may not know the answer. But in NBA Finals history, who has the most points? Dating back to the origin of the finals. A, LeBron James. B, Michael B. Jordan. C, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And D, Jerry West. Sorry about that. Football on the brain. Toledo legend.
This guy said Kareem
Abdul-Jabbar.
Hunt. Jeff?
I'm ready.
Jeff's going to be conflicted for this because he's going to want to answer LeBron for all of these, but you got to be disciplined here, Hefe. Boone, you have your answer locked in?
Yep, I do.
All right, boys. Answers in 3, 2, 1.
LeBron James. Might be Jerry
Both of
West.
you are incorrect. It is, in fact, D, the logo, Jerry West. Jerry West has the most points in NBA Finals. Not McQueen, not the GOAT, Michael Jordan, or C, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Almost like Kareem Hunt again. Both of you 0 for 1.
Is there music playing?
Yes.
I
there
got
is
to
music.
hear it. That's tough. That's all right. Let's ride. That's going to affect my ability to
Question
play.
number 2. Who has the most NBA Finals appearances as a player? A, Bill Russell. B, Derek Fisher. C, Magic Johnson. Or D, the logo again, Jerry West. As a player, not as a team, obviously. We're not doing Celtics, Lakers / Mavs, Lakers and Lakers again. Who are you taking as a player?
Like I have Derek Fisher in there.
Come on. Pops up a lot in here.
He does, yeah. I mean, the Derek Fisher.
The fish.
He says,
I don't know this, man. I'm slow.
Oh. I
Let's
thought
go.
this was a walk in the park one.
I got it, but I don't know. There's always curveballs. Watch this one be wrong, too.
A little change up, a little Scooble sinker.
All right, I got it.
All right.
Locked in, Boone.
Yeah.
All right,
locked in.
boys. Answers in 3, 2, and 1.
Hey.
Booner put the ball on the table with Derek Fisher. And it was incorrect. The answer is A, Bill Russell. Guys, come on. How many? I mean, the man has what, 11 rings?
He's got the most rings.
I thought Derek Fisher, Oklahoma City, Lakers. I don't know. I thought
Dallas. Didn't he play in Dallas? Am I tweaking?
I don't think he played when they went.
On me. Good thing I'm not answering the question. You boys are. Jeff has a 1-0 lead.
I thought
Question
Fisher
number-
was on all those Lakers team, all 5 of them that went, or 6.
Who has the most points in a single final
I mean, how am I supposed to know
Not
this,
a
man?
series. We're talking about a singular game because we've seen a lot of performances, Boone, throughout the years where Kyrie's putting up a certain amount of points, and you see where it ranks all time. You see other names up there that isn't surpassed. Maybe they have been recently. A, Elgin Baylor. B, Rick Barry. LeBron.
I'm gonna say
or
this.
D, Stephen Curry.
It's so hard to think with Klotz's commentary. I mean, it has me running in circles.
Yeah, I got it. I will see.
Do you know it?
I think. I'm pretty. I feel like I've seen this before.
All right.
My allergies have been going crazy,
Got it.
boys.
I have no clue. Yeah.
Answers in 3, 2, 1.
Hey. Elgin Baylor.
The answer is A. Elgin Baylor. I could be incorrect. I'll double check. I believe it was 61 points. That
Elgin with
scored.
that.
In the finals.
I could be wrong. Might have been a little lower.
Elgin was
Man
him.
had himself a day. Where did
This
he
is
play? The Spurs?
He was with the Lakers.
Ah, my basketball knowledge not there. Your guys has to be, though. Good thing I'm asking the question. Question number 4. Which player has lost the most finals games since 1986? So we're taking the Jerry West, the Bill Russell. We're taking those guys out of there. Who has lost
You
the
know
most
what,
finals
Klotz? You're a
games
piece of
since
shit.
1986?
You're-
A.
you're a-
Dwayne Wade. B. Kobe Bryant. C. LeBron James. Or D. Andre Iguodala. Who you
You're a
take?
piece of
I
shit.
got it.
Yeah, this is. I mean, Klotz did this not even for like any difficulty. It's just to say "f you," basically. All right.
Answers in 3, 2, and 1.
He's giving you layups.
The answer is C, LeBron James. And fun fact, if you were to remove the 1986 and include Bill Russell, include Jerry West, LeBron James still leads the NBA all-time history and most NBA Finals losses. And he did this with the super team, keep in mind, all the time besides the rookie year. We moved to question 5,
Right.
though. Which coach has the most NBA titles? We talk players. We're switching up the coaches now. A, Phil Jackson. B, Pat Riley. C, Red Arbaugh. Or D, Greg Popovich.
Is this playing and
Yeah, I was
coaching?
gonna say.
Is this combined?
Well, is this like as a coach or as
Yeah,
like
strictly as a coach.
Not
Strictly
combined?
coaching. Yep. So Pat Riley is a coach. Ownership is not involved. GM, whatever the hell he is down there, he runs.
I
Yeah.
got it. I got it.
All right, I got it.
Who are you putting, Jeff?
Let's see.
My hands up. Who are you putting?
I will wait till we'll see.
All right, let's go. Ready?
Answers in 3, 2, and 1.
Yeah.
The answer is Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson, the greatest coach in NBA history, I would say.
Red Arbach.
Bill Russell days.
Yeah, shout out. Shout out.
Shout out to him. Bill was so good. Took his spot. Anyways, we move. Question number 6, boys. Which player averages the most points per game in NBA Finals history over the series? Doesn't matter how many series they've been in, little or a lot. Who has the most points per game on average over the course of an NBA Finals history?
Do you know this, Jeff?
I have a feeling. I got a feeling. Klotzy said something there that I think gave it away. And I'll just leave it at that. I think he said something there that just gave it away. He thought he was being slick.
If Klotz, come on.
Like
now.
Rick, huh? Some storytelling,
Klotz,
eh?
you can't give it away.
Hey, both of
it
you
was
have
like
the information.
it was a hint.
I didn't get the hint. What's the hint?
Need to listen. Terry's
Well,
key.
he said this could be backfire. But he did say it doesn't. It doesn't have to be a bunch of games. It's just it's just when they were there in the finals. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because all these guys didn't play in the same amount of finals. So
nah,
it's
you
just
can
their
explain
personal-
it. I get it. All right, I got an answer. I have one. Hopefully, I helped you there, Boone. I don't know if I
I
get
don't
it.
know, man. Nothing's helping me here. All right, I got it.
All right, boys. Answers in 3, 2, and 1.
Hey, Allen Iverson.
The answer is A. Allen Iverson.
That's
with
why
a
I was
staggering 48 points per game in the
No
NBA.
way.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
AI
bad.
went
That's
crazy. Bro, think about the
nuts,
team that
dude.
he was playing on for them to get to the final, and I think they even won a game against that
It
Lakers
was
team.
they lost 4-1.
Yep, so-
That Sixers team.
He
That's
was
crazy.
going crazy that year. Allen
don't even-
Iverson.
Did they
One
get
of
a
the most-
game? Yeah, they might have. I don't know. 4-1.
I think they did get a game on him. I could be wrong, but yes.
He carried that team all the way there.
This
They
is
give him
over. This series is over. We're done. This match is over. It's 5-2.
Moving on to question 7.
I mean, this is unbelievable.
Who has the most steals in NBA Finals history? A. Scottie Pippen. B. Magic Johnson. C. Larry Bird. Or the Saginaw legend, Boone, Draymond Green.
I don't
No
know.
steals.
Most steals in NBA Finals.
You had to pick one of these guys. Which
right.
one did you think picked the most pockets?
I got it.
Got the guard dribbling up the floor. Cookies. Flipping it down to the other end.
All right, I think I got it.
I don't know if I do, but I hope so.
Got the answer.
I'm taking a guess. I'm trying to go opposite of Jeff here just to get some things.
You got to get some traction. Get some.
Have to.
I mean, if you shoot 100% from the field, Boone, here on out, you might have some life.
We'll see.
Answers in 3, 2, and 1.
Magic Johnson.
The answer is B.
I'm
Magic
on fire
Johnson.
with this
Magic
shit.
Johnson is the correct
Come
answer.
on.
Both of you, congratulations on that one, Booner. I know it's unfortunate that you both had the same answer, but at least you got it right.
This guy's 6 for 7. He's missed one question.
That is kind of insane to think about. Wow. Okay, let's see it. All right, this one might be able to throw him off. Which year did Dwayne Wade win his first NBA Finals?
No.
A, 2003, C,
Boom,
2008,
you know this.
B, 2005, or D, 2007? D Wade,
I'm ready.
able to win one with
Remember,
and
Boone, we
without
did this?
LeBron.
Hey, Boone,
I'm going to be honest. I thought it was 2006.
Nope.
Hey, Boone, remember we did.
Yeah. We went back and named every single one.
Yeah,
All the way
see,
back to like the 80s. All right, I got it. I'm pretty sure I know what it is. I might be wrong here, actually.
Wait.
I thought it was 06.
Yes.
I thought
Let's see the answers, then I'll react after.
07.
Okay? Answer in 3,
Yeah,
2, 1.
I said 07 because it's.
Let me
the
see.
O-
What did you
The
say?
technical answer is 2005 to 2012 or to 2006. So 2007 is just completely off for both of you. So get fucked. But
It was 2006. I should get a lone point because I said it was. I called it out here. It's the 06 season.
You know what,
the
Boone?
technicality,
As the host, I will grant you a point here.
All right.
I will grant you a point for bringing it to my
It was the
Next time I do a
Pistons,
question
Spurs.
Like this, I'll put the hyphens.
It was the Pistons, Spurs, and then the Heat. I believe.
that was
So
a
we
weird.
move.
That
Boone
kind of
picks
gave
up
me
a
a
point
little.
there. Boone picks up a
That
point.
threw me off for a second, Klotz. That threw
That's
me
on
off.
me, boys.
I
That's
didn't
on
even
me.
honestly. I didn't even write an answer, so just get
You lied. You said
Yeah,
I put
all right.
07
Jeff,
too.
Jeff has now been docked a point as well. Boone gained a point. And Jeff loses a point. We are doing
Lie
that
about
right.
this. That's cheating.
I was
So
on
Jeff
it.
is now up by, I believe, 3 instead of 4 points. Moving on to
No,
question
it's 6 to 4 right now.
6 to 4, Jeff. There's 2 questions left. You better hope you get one of them right so you don't tie. Which Detroit Pistons player has the most points in NBA Finals history not named Isaiah Thomas? A, Chauncey Billups. B, Bill Laimbeer. C, Joe Dumars. Or D, Richard Hamilton. Which
Oh,
Pistons
this is actually a
not
good one.
named Isaiah Thomas? Don't ask me why I just said named like that.
How many finals
Man,
did
Tigers
they
are losing 4-1. What the fuck is this?
So, Klotzy, is this most points total or most points per game?
Points total. Points total. If it's points per game, it will be typed points per game.
Okay, I have an answer.
Me too. What are you saying, Jeff? Just so I can go opposite of you, because if you get it, you win.
That's on me, Diggity Dog. That is on me.
I'm going Joe Dumars.
I mean, what is this?
That's what I had. I got to switch it. I got it, Jeff or Klotz. I got to go different. I got to switch.
I mean,
it.
this.
I
is
want it
just-
on record.
I almost just want to shut the show down after that. I mean, what the fuck are you guys doing?
I want it on record. I had Joe Dumars.
I'm trying to help him out.
This is no tea party.
All right, I got it.
All right, fellas. Answers in 3, 2, 1.
I'm Joe Dumars.
Bill.
I already said it. So
Yeah, no more of that. The answer is C, Joe Dumars.
See, it's over.
We'd rather go down swinging, making some contact, Boone, and just swinging.
I want it on record. I technically have 5.
I'm disappointed in both of you. Question 10, then we're wrapping this up. What was J.R. Smith's career high in points during an NBA Finals game? J.R. It's the most points he scored in a single NBA Finals game. A, 29, B, 21, C, 33 of a Trey piece, or D, 25. J.R. What did he put up his career high in the finals?
I got it.
Back
Me
when he was
too.
carrying Braun.
Me too. 3, 2, 1.
I have D.
Answers in
Hey.
I'm not even reading off the answer. Not even reading off the answer.
What is the answer?
Hefe, congratulations on your win.
What was the answer?
Never know. I wasn't
No.
able to really.
You got to
tell us. Yeah, you can't. Klotz.
I don't. You guys think you run the show now, huh?
I'll open the chat. It's A.
My show, okay?
I got it
You
right.
guys
It was
have
A.
Programming, the scheduled programming, trivia. Answer is D, 25.
Oh!
25.
You sure?
Yes.
Oh, that boy! I swear.
Did you get that, Jeff? You said D.
Yeah.
This guy got 8 out of 10, dude. That's unbelievable.
On so what month are we in? We're in June, right? On June 12th, 2017, JR dropped 25, 3-1 on the Golden State Warriors' head in 41 minutes.
I want it on the record. I got 5 out of 10. Jeff just went nuts and got 8.
He just went crazy.
There's nothing I can do. It felt like I had a good performance. It was just,
No.
Great offense can't be great, or
Yeah.
great defense can't be great offense, Boone.
the
Some
guy
days.
was just hot today, man. Catch him next time. Drop
Yeah,
the
Both
B.
of you
Drop the
will be
B's.
fine. Both
Drop
of
the
you will
B's
be
in the
fine
chat.
here.
Everyone drop the B's in the chat.
Yeah,
Fill the chat up with B's. Get this guy out of here, man.
Hey, that's Klotzy, good job today. That I feel like those questions they kind of fit my. I just knew everyone.
No, listen, trivia has
know.
turned into just a let's lay up questions for Jeff every week. Jeff centric, all the LeBron stuff before, like Jeff
LeBron was not an answer to one of them.
Yeah, he was to
Not a
one.
single one of
To
them. Neither
one.
was
That
Michael
was- we
Jordan.
both
Yeah,
got
he
that
was
right.
one.
So that was a layup, though. To be fair, that was.
Yeah, but you're a LeBron stan. You know whether he is or isn't the answer. You know,
Yeah, he
I put
probably
LeBron
looks
for
He
2.
probably
I
looks
put
at how
LeBron
the
for
stats
3.
change daily. Probably looks at it like a stock market.
I'm
Let's
surprised
do let's do a
the
NASCAR
Elgin
one, huh?
Baylor Elgin Baylor?
No clue. I don't know anything about Elgin Baylor, dude.
Got to be a basketball savant. That's what we're testing.
Yeah,
Are you a savant?
to be a basketball savant, you got to know.
You need to know what Elgin Baylor did in the
You need to
NBA
know
Finals in
Elgin Baylor's stat
1971.
lines.
That's the only one. If you know Elgin Baylor's stat line in the finals, you know ball.
You're a savant.
No, that's ridiculous. I think the reason why I knew that is because I watched a Lakers doc one time. I think.
Okay, of course.
So I kind of
man.
knew Elgin. Like I kind of knew he
Probably the day JJ Redick was hired. It's all coming together perfectly. LeBron, JJ, Bronny. Just wait till they get Luka.
Oh, that's funny.
First round
That's
exit.
funny as hell, man.
A lot of ass. Welcome to
All
Ant-Man,
right,
baby.
drop
Lauren
the
Edwards.
questions. Get to mailbag. This the fact he had to throw a LeBron loss in there is just absolutely embarrassing.
Thought it was a very interesting stat.
I thought the first one, the one I got wrong was the Braun one in the beginning when you said the most. What was it?
Points.
Most points in the finals ever. I was like, it's
Yeah.
got to be Braun.
LeBron was second. But Jerry West kind of leads it by a chunk. Not going to lie.
Does he?
Yeah.
I mean, they
No
went to a,
3-point line either.
a bunch of fun. The logo.
On the logo for a reason, baby.
That's ridiculous.
Sips tea.
That's ridiculous. All right. That was fun. I trivia. We
Good
got to
stuff.
get like we should do next week. What's next week?
What would be happening next
oh no,
week?
it's this Sunday.
That's why I said this week racing, but no one seems to listen to
No, we should do racing.
what I have to
We'll
say.
do racing next week. When you want NASCAR?
We should do a NASCAR one.
Do you want NASCAR or racing? Because I got to know how to dwindle
We'll
this
talk
down.
about it. We'll talk about it.
Oh no collusion. No, it's like
Well, no, I mean, we'll talk about it as a group
Oh, okay.
off air.
All right.
That's fair. F1 trivia.
Jeff somehow wins.
No way. Yeah, not that. Yeah, no way. I would
To be fair, everyone that we this has been a problem my whole life. Every single trivia we've done, Klotzy does like the most random questions to where it's like no one actually knows it, and it's like a guessing game at that point where it's like elimination. One thing in my life I've always been bad at in school is tests. So like eliminating It's
Right, you're not the biggest process of elimination guy.
no, like the questions that it's like, hey, you probably should know this. I typically will get, but the ones where it's like you're really having to think and the process of eliminating question, I'm out. Like I'm automatic loss. That's what the trivia has been. It's been process of eliminating. I'm out on that. I'm bad at it. Jeff is pretty good at it. It seems to be.
Yeah, like that Pistons question, like who's second in the team in final points in the finals.
Well, I knew
we
that
knew that.
was. Yeah,
No, that's what I'm saying. Like we knew that. You know?
Those are ones where it's like, okay, here we go. Like this is actually skill. But the other ones are just like, hey, let's just throw what at the wall and figure this out.
I knew a lot of those.
Which ones you guessed on a lot of them?
Not knowing the Bill Russell.
No, I didn't guess. I didn't guess on it. I knew a lot of those. Probably
Which ones?
I have to see the questions, but I knew those questions. I don't think they were that hard of questions. I'm not trying to like diss you right now, but they weren't like any crazy.
Well, I mean, I got 5 or 6 out of 10, so no, they weren't that bad.
Like that. Yeah, they were. We had a couple that we just got wrong, but yeah, they were. This man's trying to act like I'm just guessing every question. I mean,
you are. You are.
Come
besides the Elgin Baylor one, you're guessing. That was the only one where you were like,
oh, now I'm guessing.
The Elgin Baylor one's the guess.
This guy just won't give me. He just won't give his teammates some credit here. I mean,
well, we're not teammates. We're going up against each other.
Damn, what's the other one? Like most NBA Finals appearances, Boone. It's Bill Russell.
You guessed.
That's like obvious.
Why did you say LeBron? I said LeBron.
Bill Russell went to 11 and Bron's 4 and 6.
That's 10. You're acting like it's such a big difference.
But that's off the top.
I don't know. See, that's one of those colluding questions to where every LeBron stat of all time that he's 4 and 6, and I don't know he's 4 and 6. All I know is he's been to 10 plus, and I'm thinking how many has Bill been to 10 plus. All right, process of elimination. Who am I going? I don't know. LeBron's 4 and 6 in the finals. That's why Klotz put a lot of different LeBron ones that had to do with LeBron on there. That's collusion, in my opinion.
Oh no!
Whether it was LeBron or not, you knew to take LeBron off if he was.
He's
The list stands. Questions stand.
Hey, don't
Even
do
for
that.
both parties.
Hey, don't do that.
Mailbag.
Yeah.
Drop some questions. Mailbag.
Yeah. Get your questions ready. Someone mailbag. How many did you guess on? No, I'm just kidding. Mailbag. Can we do LeBron trivia? Someone just
not a chance.
No, I'm just joking. Oh, it's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. It's funny because I'm actually not a great trivia player, and I feel like
you're winning every week, dude.
I love trivia
with Klotzy, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm cooking.
Hashtag collusion.
I mean, it's just
don't diss Trivia Tuesdays like that. We keep the game pure.
Yeah, you know what?
Hashtag collusion.
Hashtag pure.
Kill says mailbag. Have you always cheated on tests, Jeff?
I do think there was someone that said you cheated last week. Or 2 weeks ago. I do think there's a chance.
I've never cheated. No, on this.
Whoa.
How
do I know then if you've cheated in real life that?
Have you cheated?
Never. I would
never in school. Never cheated. Yeah. Okay.
No.
Okay, Boone. Yeah.
I never have.
Look at your face.
Never.
I was the best. I'd write on the inside of water bottles. I'd have like those desks that you could write on, and I'd constantly cover them with things. The only time I got fucked over was in my Spanish exam. I sneezed, and I had a piece of tissue paper covering the notes on my desk. And right as I sneezed, the tissue paper blew off, and I went to bend over and pick it back up. The teacher was standing right there, like took the L, and she's like, "No, finish it." And I was like, "No chance, I finish this. I'm just gonna get a 0 on it." And I turned it in, and take it. Got a 23 on the semester. Wasn't the best. Yeah. Wasn't the best.
Jeez, Klotz.
A 23 is crazy.
I mean, that's what are we
doing?
LeBron.
We overcome. We move.
Yeah. I haven't cheated on too many tests because I was always nervous because the teachers are in our school were watching during the test. But homework, like, yeah, you come in or like the night before, like, shout out to my girlfriend now. She just,
I mean, I don't think it counts as cheating on homework if you like copy. That's just getting the job done. You know what I mean?
It's only tests.
I think you can only cheat on tests.
I've done
Homework,
it.
you can. There's no rules that you can't look up answers in homework. You do what you
Oh,
want.
I used to have an app. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I would say
Scan
what
the
was
thing.
it?
It would like
Yeah,
tell
and
you
they
the
give you
answer.
everything. That's what
Chad used to have everything. I mean,
Hey,
Yeah, I never had an issue cheating. Homework, I never did at home. I don't think I ever did one piece of homework at home after my freshman year of high school. Always be in school. Or I just wouldn't do it. One of the two.
let's see. Ball Elias says Mailbag, most underrated QB in the league.
Justin Herbert.
I'd say Baker. I think
Baker
gets
is
a little
very underrated.
disrespected.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. I do like that.
I think CJ Stroud could start falling into that tier. If he doesn't
No,
get like
I don't think
I'm
so.
not saying he could start falling into that tier because I think people
You could
like,
argue
"What?" after
overrated.
last year. Oh, I disagree. See, that's where
I just think people think he's like that good. He had a big fresh or rookie year, and I think it's like he hasn't done that since. So I think he needs to show that he can still do that before
I mean, I can
you
still
say
play
underrated.
ball.
No one knows that though. He hasn't.
Trevor Lawrence.
Shut the
Jared Goff.
If Trevor Lawrence is any other quarterback, Jeff, we would have labeled him a bust by now. But the fact that he was labeled
Jared
as a
Goff.
generational type prospect.
Jared Goff.
I think Baker's a really good one.
I think Baker's a good one. I think Justin Herbert's a good one.
Yeah, those two are pretty good ones.
Any other ones? I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't think so. I think that's about it.
AG's Burner says Sugar or Marab. I think I've already said I'm going Sugar this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going Sugar just because narrative.
Yeah, it's gonna be close, man. I'm definitely a little nervous for sure. Let's see. Phil Mailbag, how many girlfriends do you expect in the future, Jeff? Since this one is just now, what do you? I expect one girlfriend, and that is my wonderful girlfriend. Been with her.
Did you say something?
Yeah, I mentioned how I cheated off my my girlfriend's homework.
That's a wild thing to say.
Off her homework.
You just said.
Back in high school. It's actually how we met in math class, algebra. But yeah, no more girlfriends. We're done.
Fiancés.
Let's see. Mailbag, ball of line mailbag. How about the most overrated?
Overrated quarterback?
CJ Stroud.
That's insane.
Yeah, I think overrated. I would probably go.
I think Sam Darnold, if you consider him good. I don't know if people would. I gotta think.
Tough question. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Dak. I'll say it 1,000 times again. Dak. I think
Dak,
Ben Bloom is going Dak.
I think at times, Jalen Hurts can get a little overrated, man.
Bro's been at 2 Super Bowls.
But that's the problem.
4 years. Yeah, what's Dak done? Gets talked about like he does because he puts up.
I understand. I think Jalen
Hurts
is a winner. You know, he does some great things, but I think people act like he's like.
Actually, don't hate the Jalen Hurts one.
It's like, has he thrown over 25 TDs in a season?
No, but he leads the NFL in touchdowns over the last 2 years.
The tush push. That's the tush push. That's not anything else. That's not anything else but the tush push.
I think Jalen Hurts is good, but if you ask like Eagles fans, they're going to tell you that guy's like on Mahomes' level.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very dependent on the Eagles.
He's never thrown for over 4,000 yards. He's never had more than 23 touchdowns.
See, I'm
taking Hurts over Dak Prescott 10 times out of 10. Not even a question.
Brock Purdy.
I think Purdy is to the point where he's going to start getting underrated. Again, if he's not on the Niners, yeah, you might have that argument, but he is.
Jared Goff. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding, actually. I'm joking. Chill. Bartolai says, I've seen Eagles fans say that if Hurts was on the Ravens or Bills, they'd have a ring. That's ridiculous.
disagree with that.
That's wrong.
Like, who
That's
would you
wrong.
take, Lamar or Jalen Hurts?
I mean, Etienne, I
Jalen
respect
Hurts.
what you have to say. Typically, you basically right there saying that Jalen Hurts is
Well,
better.
no, he said
than
he's
Lamar.
seen
No, he
Eagles
said
fans
he's
say it.
seen Eagles fans say that.
Oh, okay.
He's heard Eagles
Those
fans
fans I disrespect. I would
yeah, I
disrespect that.
disrespect those fans.
Because if you're a fan and you genuinely think that Jalen Hurts is better than Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, you don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy.
I would take Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Ben Blue said, "How did Booner whiff on reading that?" I you know, I
Like,
lost in
I
trivia.
think Jalen Hurts is top 10.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's like the
It's
you
not
know
right
what I mean?
outside.
10.
You see what I'm saying though? Like if
He's
you
like
ask Eagles
8, 9,
fans, he's
10.
top 5. Like it's
Yeah,
top
no,
4,
he's
like,
not
no.
top
I
5.
mean, if you ask Eagles fan, they're going to say that, of course.
Yeah, no, he's not even close to top 5.
Lions fan, they're going to say Goff's top 5. Not all.
Well, last year he was.
All right, we'll get out of here. Appreciate you all.
Was he not top 4 in MVP voting?
All right, yeah, we're not doing
This
this.
is the point I was trying to say.
Hey, all right, we're talking to the doc tomorrow. He's joining
It's a
the
fact,
show.
though.
We'll get to talk about
Was
Frank
Jalen Hurts a
Clark,
finalist?
everything else and much
Super
more.
Bowl
But
MVP
until
finalist,
tomorrow,
yeah.
much love to you all. Stay
Good for
safe out
him.
there.
Love you guys.
Peace.